And we're live, assumedly. Stretch is in order. Howdy, Arrow. Finally, someone come to save us from the muse. You're live, but who knows for how long with a spooky game? I know. Even spookier because I'm not on screen for dramatic effect right now. Also, there's no music right now because this is an old-ass game, and I haven't started it yet. Fully charged. Damage the battery, even though I don't know if that's actually a thing, but just in case. Hey everyone, welcome to the beginning of the Death March. Which UFO 50 is this? It's got to be like one of the first 10. It's pretty early in there. You know, this game is from 1989. So I don't know. Howdy, hey dinner. Thank you very much for the tier 1 sub. You're a jelly already. Well, I don't catch streams very regularly. Your charm and wit are always a delight. Thank you very much, hey dinner. Greatly appreciated. Your generosity truly knows no bounds. So thank you very much for that. Happy to have you. One whole year of jelly. Such a banger game. Have you played it before? I'll be honest. Came over from Waller's stream. Hope you're okay today. Just getting started here, Flora. Good to see you. They keep meowing in Joe's stream. Thanks for the save. Yeah. I didn't have any interest in watching Mugenics myself, so from the team that made Poo Poo Caca game, here's Poo Poo Cat game. It seemed to be aesthetically the same thing as Isaac, so not really what I'm looking for, I would say. That was my big problem with Isaac, was, you know, it could be a great game under all that, you know, might even be the best roguelike, but I don't know, the aesthetic just completely turns me off of it. Poor Rollers keeps having his computer crash on him. Hopefully he can figure out why and get rid of the problem soon. Oh man, that sucks. I was dealing with that a while back. Hopefully it doesn't last too long on him. It's creating a good deal of emergent stream content, which I appreciate. I can imagine, yeah. It is a roguelike with a large degree of randomness. You don't like Doo Doo Caca? No, I can't say that I do. No, I can't say that I'm too big a fan of it aesthetically. Jelly, where are you? Oh, of course. Where are my manners? Hey everyone, how's it going? Your voice sounds different? No, I don't think so. Hey everyone, I'm 3D now. Thanks to the fine folks over at I believe Hellfire Railway Interactive. Why can't I remember that name exactly? No, I got it right. Hellfire Railway Interactive, which is to say, my good friend Madison Bake. Oh, hotkeys aren't working, so that's just super great. One moment, please. Hold on. Let me just give me a second. I'm gonna relaunch that so that they do work. There it is. Too many. Go get that up and running. Now hotkeys hopefully will work. And there we go. I'm on screen again. No hotkeys today, VAutoTube? None whatsoever? Really now? Oh, okay. Now they work. Now they work. They only work whenever I'm... Okay, is it because I didn't run it as an administrator, of course. Naturally. Right. One moment, please. Third time's the charm, as it were. Let's try this one more time. There we go. All right. Anyway, it's got animations and even transition states, and this is what the other one looks like. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool if I do say so myself. You know? I like it. I like it quite a lot. Everyone say a big round thank you to Maddie for getting this model done, not only in such spectacular fashion, but in a very short period of time. It was like 2 weeks turnaround on this. So thank you for that, Maddie. It looks incredible. This is everything I dreamed that it would be. I figure if we're gonna have a whole month of streams, I would like to have a special model for the month of streams. So I commissioned Maddie to get a 3D model in the PlayStation 1 style model. It's got, I don't know how possible it is to see it at this resolution on screen, but I do believe it has a little bit of that classic PS1 polygon jitter when it moves a little bit. This is absolutely fantastic. You have outdone yourself. Hey Denner gifted a tier 1 sub to Mad Big. Thank you, Hey Denner. Really appreciated. Did a fantastic job, Maddie. And I'm really, really happy with the two different sprites as well. It looks really good. A little janky moving between the talking and non-talking when the gun is drawn, but you know what? There's nothing I can do about it, and it looks just fine to me. I'm just not used to having models with so much what's the term I'm looking for? Variance between the talking and non-talking states. But I really, really like how this came out. Starting to look like a famous streamer now, Jelly. Well, I do have that kind of aura about me, don't I? For my part, I can't stop feeling like it's a Smiling Friends bit. Like how in Smiling Friends everyone's 2D, and then every once in a while one character is in full 3D. It's awesome, but my brain is it's a little jarring. It is slightly jarring to see a character on screen talking with my voice, and that character is not two-dimensional, much like myself in real life. Exactly like Grimly. I never saw Smiling Friends, so I would think of Gumball. Yeah, some form of mixed media entertainment. Anyway, let's see. Got lost in the jelly reveal, but to answer your question, yes, a long time ago. It's very difficult and not forgiving at all, but that's part of the appeal to this. You can feel the DNA of everything it inspired. Yep. So today we are going to be playing Sweet Home. This is a game for the Famicom, the Japanese counterpart to the Nintendo NES, which is redundant because the Nintendo Entertainment System. But this is, as you can tell, a very old game. This game is from 1989. We are not going to be playing it to completion. We are going to be doing one stream of it, because there are a lot of things that I want to get to on the list, and this would be a 2-streamer, and from what I know, or what I have researched, it is punishingly difficult, and I don't want to get stuck on a very old game that I don't understand very well. So, we're going to be doing one stream, and we're largely here just to see the origin point of all of this. If you are not aware, welcome one and all to the Death March. So back last year, back in October, I did a stream with Mouse, Smoke of the White, and Allison, where we streamed some games and raised some money for the Spooktacular Streamathon to raise money for Gamers Outreach to get some kids some gaming equipment in hospitals so that their stays can be a lot more fun, a lot more enjoyable, and a lot less, how a hospital stay usually is. So part of the incentives, we had some charity incentives for the money we raised. Part of that incentive was a themed month of streams, which we are all, to my understanding, doing in March. So Mouse is going to be streaming a bunch of cozy games. She's got a whole syllabus. I think she's doing like a lightning round, just playing one stream of a bunch of different games to see how the cozy game genre began, how it has been iterated on throughout the years, when it was codified, and what it's like in the modern day, stuff like that. I'm not sure what Allison and Smoke of the White are doing, but I do believe they're going to be having their own themed month of streams themselves, possibly in March. But for myself, I am going to be playing a bunch of survival horror games. This channel got its start playing Dead Space, and I, as a human being, have always been fascinated with horror media, despite being a big ol' wuss who cannot handle it in the slightest. And after playing Dead Space and a couple of other games in the genre, I have become enamored with survival horror. And so what I wanted to do with this themed month of streams is take a look at the most influential, shall we say, or a lot of noteworthy survival horror games throughout the years. Now, notably, the first two games are survival horror by technicality, in a sense, which is to say, Sweet Home and Clock Tower were both released before the term survival horror was ever codified as a genre. The very first survival horror game is Resident Evil. That is when the genre came into existence and was named. However, Clock Tower is often considered to be a predecessor to the genre in many ways, and is also a very iconic horror franchise. And of course, Sweet Home, as you can tell by the Capcom right there, is, if I'm remembering correctly, from the same creative director as the original Resident Evil, and is largely the inspiration for the game and the series at large. It is a sweet home, you might say. It is a sweet home, you might say. Wrong? Oh no. Stepping it up a notch with your PNG. I know! Thank you again, Maddie, for this incredible 3D PNG tuber. It is still very strange. A little uncanny, perhaps dabbling into horror myself and occupying the third dimension, as it were. But damn if I don't look good. Really, really, really happy with how this came out. Again, Maddie, insane turnaround on the quality of this model. Looks fire. Hey, Lurf, good to see you. So yeah, we are starting off the Death March with Sweet Home. Wonder what kind of liquid the title is made of. I'm hoping it's raspberry sauce. I think it's going to be hyper-realistic blood. For some reason, this game... I mean, not for some reason. I'm getting massive creepypasta that I watched, read, listened to someone talk about on YouTube in middle school vibes, and that is to say, like, retro game plus horror equals then he looked directly at the screen and his eyes were bleeding, but it wasn't just regular blood, it was hyper realistic blood. Whoa, so scary. So that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting there a little bit. Thank you, Last Clown in the Car, for the tier 1 sub. 18 months, a year and a half. Boo! Ah! Oh! Oh! Who said that? Oh, man. Oh, no. Kawaii. All right. Oh, damn, that looks awesome. Right? Right? Damn. Gun Stance is so box art, isn't it? Inspired by Signalis, as it were. The two pose references that I gave Maddie were specifically from Signalis. It's Elster whenever she's standing still holding a pistol for that pose, the not talking pose, and then whenever she's running while holding a pistol, she raises it up like this. This is a very, very, very cool pose, though. And then, of course, you know, I'm supposed to be using these little transition animations whenever I switch between them. You know? Even as a special transition to the normal... Right? Maddie absolutely outdid it. Oh! I dropped my spoon. Maddie absolutely outdid himself. But, yeah. So, I have a handful of goals with the Death March. Number one is just to play a lot of survival horror games, because I have a love of the genre, but I do not have a lot of experience with the genre. I have played the whole Dead Space franchise, of course. Well, minus some of the spin-offs, which I do plan on playing at some point, maybe for a stream anniversary down the line. I have played Signalis. I've played some bits and pieces of some of the newer Resident Evil games. And to be completely honest with you, I think that's it. There may be some other games mixed in there that count. Soma probably counts to some degree. Maybe it Still Wakes the Deep? Is that what that's called? Still Wakes the Deep? I can't remember. Soma was a comedy, what do you mean? I mean, yeah, it was a little difficult for me to get immersed, which was ironic considering the whole thing was underwater. Never even tried something. I have tried to play Outlast, actually. I hate Outlast quite a lot, and not hate as in like, oh, it's so scary. Hate as in the game design baffles and bores me a little bit. If you want me to get scared shitless, maybe we could play Outlast, but Outlast largely annoys me. I would say Alone in the Dark is a huge inspiration for the genre, but that game is so miserable to play. It was originally on the playlist, but I wanted to make room for a lot of stuff that was more attention-grabbing, shall we say. I hate Amnesia likes. Amnesia is on the list. I have played Amnesia: The Dark Descent. I played it a long, long time ago with someone on call with me who had a guide. So I'm realizing I've played probably a lot more survival horror games than I thought I did. Silent Hill F also counts, of course. And I'm glad someone said Soma is a comedy. Slavity, thank you, because that segues pretty nicely into my other goal that I'm looking to get into, or rather, what I'm looking to get out of this with inspecting the survival horror genre specifically. Is the Dark Descent the one with the bunker? Apparently the bunker one is really good. That one is called Amnesia the Bunker. The one with the bunker is called Amnesia the Bunker. Generally, they're named pretty they're pretty direct with their naming conventions, I would say. You just got to make fun of the monster, and Amnesia becomes a comedy game. We're really just going to be getting all the way back into our YouTube roots here. When me, a person who imprints on any object, physical or digital, is forced to play Amnesia and may find a little prop object to carry around. All right, we're really going to be hearkening back to the roots of horror content on YouTube, if that comes to pass. But I'll try my best to see to it that it does not. What about Penumbra? Penumbra was considered for the list, but we also do only have a month to get through it. Why horror games don't scare Jelly? You're right, I got a little sidetracked. So, part of why I want to play survival horror games specifically is because I think a lot of people online, and there may be one particular person I'm thinking of that is rather, shall we say, prominent figure in a community that we may share some familiarity with, have what I believe to be a very narrow view of horror as a genre. Which is to say that the common sentiment I find expressed about horror games is that they must be scary. If you are playing a horror game and you are not scared, the game has failed in some way. That, to me, appears to be a very common consensus in regards to horror games online. And, I mean, it goes without saying, but I will say it. I find that to be extremely limiting. I find that to be a very reductive view of horror as a genre. I think that largely, when it comes to horror in video games, being scared is, yes, a potential reaction to elicit from the player. But horror is not just fear, it is tension, it is paranoia, it is worry, it is anxiety, it is a cavalcade of pervasive and persistent negative feelings that assault you consistently throughout the experience, right? And it is one thing to create a game which scares you momentarily, right? It is one thing to create a game where the horror is a jump scare, or something like Five Nights at Freddy's, where the horror is largely based on trying to avoid a failure state, and then the failure state itself is somewhat scary. Who turned my PNG tuber into a low poly PS1 character? This really is getting scary. We started at 2 and now we're at 3. Where are we going next? 4 dimensions? Well, these streams do tend to take up quite a lot of time, so I think we skipped from 2 to 4 a long time ago, and now we're just backtracking, which, you know, wouldn't be uncommon for the survival horror genre. Anyway, I like to view horror as a much broader experiential spectrum than just fear. And so what I want to do is I want to look at survival horror specifically, because I think it's a very interesting experimental genre when you look at its inclusion of horror elements and how devs decide to evoke horror through their gameplay and setting. There are some games in our playlist that are trying to be scary. There are some games that are largely using horror as an aesthetic. There are some games that are going to perhaps lean on horror in more of a jump scare sense, and more of an anxiety sense, and more of a thrill sense. But the one thing that I believe all of them have in common, and what I think is essential to the survival horror genre and the survival horror experience, is resource management. All right? I think that the defining factor of a survival horror game is some level of horror aesthetic, yes, but it is the tension inherent to limited resources and learning to manage them. That is where survival and horror come into contact with one another. It is the fear of not being able to survive if you do not use what you have at hand effectively, right? And so, what I want to look at with a lot of these games is, how are developers using that resource strain to inflict fear on the player? And further, what game elements do developers use as resources in order to inflict that fear? Because when we think of the survival horror genre, a lot of the time we're going to be thinking of weapons, ammunition, health, all that sort of stuff. Those are your resources to deal with. You have a limited amount of health, and healing is also limited. So if you take damage, that's bad. You have a limited amount of ammunition, so if you have to find a reason to use it, you have to be really sparing with your ammunition so that you don't waste it and you have it when you do need it, right? There's a lot of these considerations with more material resources. And by all means, those are perfectly valid resource strains that any developer is probably going to put on you, right? Those are expected of the genre, right? What may be less expected is characters as a resource, or time as a resource, or an additional layer to it, such as sanity, which you could see in something like Silent Hill F, or Amnesia is the big one there. Other players as a resource, right? And I bring up specifically other players is in reference to Left 4 Dead. We're going to be doing a solo Left 4 Dead 2 realism campaign as part of this marathon. I'm going to be doing it with bots, but what I find interesting, there's two things that are interesting, I think, about Left 4 Dead 2 that we'll get into in more detail when we play it, is that it is, I think, firmly in the survival horror genre because it has a horror aesthetic and it has that resource management mechanic, but it's multiplayer, which is something that, generally speaking, does not mesh well with a horror experience. So how does Left 4 Dead 2 balance multiplayer with those horror aesthetics? How does it inflict enough resource strain to give you that sense of tension when you have that many people? And another thing that I think is also really, really interesting about survival horror as a genre, and one thing that I want to hopefully have the time to examine, is in survival horror games, you can just outskill the horror. It is very possible, and in fact, it is essential to the learning experience of playing through a survival horror game that the player find some way to master their environment, right? The general loop of a traditional survival horror game is that by the end of the game, you are not anywhere close to the frail, resource-starved husk that you start the game as. You have learned how to manage every single one of your resources effectively. You have learned how to navigate the environment effectively. You have learned how to maximize your combat efficiency so that you're not wasting any resources that you don't need to. And part of that, or rather that, is also an extremely important part of the survival horror experience, which I think a lot of people would consider to be antithetical or counter to the goals of the genre, right? Because if the idea is to inflict fear and tension, what happens when you become so good at the game that you cannot feel that fear, that the tension is gone because you have simply mastered the systems at play? And personally, I'm going into this with a viewpoint that that is not a flaw of the genre, that skill can cause you to overcome the horror. I am saying that is a feature. I believe, personally, that mastery over systems is meant to be your reward for sticking with the game and understanding how to play it and overcoming the horror. Survival horror, to me, is about disempowerment in the beginning and pure empowerment towards the end. It is about balancing your helplessness with your agency, in a sense. And once you learn how to balance it properly, your reward for understanding the systems at play is to just slay out, to bulldoze whatever is in your path, and to completely dominate your environment. Not being scared by the end of a horror game is practically by design. Yes. And so that's a large part of why I find a lot of people's views of horror games to be very reductive. Because I think that in a genre where interactivity is key, it is difficult or bordering on impossible to inflict helplessness throughout the entire experience. Because to just be plain in our language, you are in control of a game. Helplessness is extremely difficult to design mechanically. It is very, 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 very difficult to engineer a game that allows you to control it while still making you feel helpless the entire time. Now, there are some games later on in the genre's lifespan that I do think start to lean into that helplessness as part of the design. Amnesia is a large one, right? I think Amnesia is maybe the bridge between something like Resident Evil and Outlast, shall we say, where you are helpless in terms of being unable to fight back, but you aren't helpless in terms of having agency over your resource management. Once you get to something like Outlast, I think we've firmly left the survival horror genre and are just now squarely in horror, because there's no longer this aspect of resource management. It's more so stealth, it is conflict avoidance entirely, because you have no other way of interacting with your environment other than to run and hide, right? So I'm going to be very excited to see what sort of games we have and how they iterate on the genre, what new directions they take the genre in, how much they will focus on that feeling of helplessness versus empowerment, and whether I think they improve upon or fail in some ways to emulate or embody that survival horror ideal that began with Resident Evil. So, that's a lot of words to say. I'm really, really excited to get into this. And I've spent 30 minutes yapping in your fucking ear, so I think I should probably just get to it. You should put Haunting Ground on your list. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Haunting Ground was also on the list at some point. If I manage to finish some games early, I do think I want to try and slot some other games in. And Haunting Ground is like number one on my list if that comes to pass. But right now, we got a tight schedule, so the only reason I'm yapping like I am right now is because I know we're only doing Sweet Home for one day. All right, we got one day of Sweet Home because I've got no illusions of like going through the entire game, of mastery over these systems. Why we're playing Sweet Home is largely because I want context for Resident Evil, right? I want to understand and I want to be able to see the influences of this game on the genre and the series as a whole, right? So I'm really, really excited to get into it. So without further ado, let me know if the volume is good. Oh right, I also wanted to let me yap just a little bit more. I found a translation of the game manual so that we can have a general idea of what the story is, because I know with a lot of older games, the game manual is actually really essential to understanding what's going on at all. So real quick, I'm going to read the story and give us a rundown of our cast. So here is the story that is provided in the manual. This is from a translation by, who is this translated by? Does not say who it is translated by. Well, I'm sure we'll find that at some point. Anyway, the story provided in the manual. 30 years ago, there was a great artist, Ichiro Mamiya. He built a mansion deep in the mountains, far from the city, and painted his frescoes there. He had a wife and a child, and the three of them lived happily together. But some misfortune befell them, and all three passed away. In the 30 years since then, no one has dared to go near the mountain, which has come to be feared as haunted. Now, 5 members of a TV crew have entered this forbidden place to report on the artworks painted by the genius Mamiya. But here, a tragedy unfolds. The mansion shakes, the ceiling collapses, and they are now trapped inside. Ghosts of the Mamiya family appear. Can the 5 find a way out? How many will survive? A terrifying battle begins in Sweet Home. Our cast is Kazuo, a TV producer. He has a lighter. Akiko, a woman director. She has a first aid kit. Taguchi, note the 2000 English patch named him Taro. A cameraman, he has a video camera, which I would assume, I would hope so at least. Asuka, a TV reporter, she has a vacuum cleaner. Interesting. And Emi, a student. She is also Kazuo's daughter. She has a key. So, earlier I was talking about I want to see what survival horror games do in terms of resources, and in fact, what developers consider or utilize as resources in their games. As I understand it, there is permadeath and multiple endings in Sweet Home, which is to say, in Sweet Home, the characters themselves are a resource that can be lost, which is something that has me very, very excited to see where this goes. We will not be changing the names of the cast. And then I think it's Z and X and then arrow keys. All right. Get to it. Let me know how the volume is. An investigation team searches for Mamiya Ichiro's remains, but it lies within the haunted Mamiya Manor. Let's go. Prep the camera. Good. We're all here. Somewhere in this mansion is Mamiya's fresco, I'm sure. Fresco used a special Oh no. What the? Wah! The exit! Fools! Those who defile my home shall feel my wrath! I'm sure that's fine. What's going on? We have to escape. Has to be another exit. Better search the mansion. Who am I controlling? Kazuo. Also remember, we each have our own tools. This is not a Sweet Home? No, it doesn't seem like it. Alright, can I pause? I can't. Stop! Stop! Alright. I just wanna calibrate. Let me we're in it now, so let me just ready to roll. But also, I'm just now remembering I did consider putting Luigi's Mansion on the on the list of games for the survival horror as well, but I didn't think it met my criteria of having any level of resource management. Despite it having a horror theme, and just the haunted mansion in this has just reminded me. It doesn't have any resource management, sadly. But I think that would be an interesting game to look at because, I mean, it's Nintendo, it's Luigi, it's Ghosts and Goblins, and it's a little Nintendo baby game. But, like, it is interesting because that's still a horror game, you know? But I wouldn't say it's traditionally scary in any sense, right? But I don't think you would... It's... There's two things about that, actually. One... Would anyone disagree that Luigi's Mansion is a horror game? Right? Would anyone disagree that it's a horror game? Because I think that's a pretty cut and dry, if we're talking, like, prescriptive of the genre. Like, I feel like it is a horror game. Even though I don't think most people, almost any really, would consider it to be particularly scary. Child Me would definitely not disagree, considering the game she found scary. Yeah, it's children's horror, like Goosebumps. Yeah, it's a spooky game, but yet it is horror. Yeah, right? So there's a game that is definitively horror, but I think that most people wouldn't consider to be scary, right? Additionally, that game did scare me as a child. This is an anecdote now. Thinking about seeing that door animation at the beginning reminded me of Luigi's Mansion when you try to open a door and you don't have a key and it's locked, the little like zoom in on the handle as Luigi's trembling hand goes and grabs it and he like turns it, goes and it doesn't work, and then he fucking pulls on the door and goes boom boom, and then it like for some reason the fact that it zoomed in real close always fucking scared me. It was just such an abrupt cut. Great sound effects, thank you. At least 3/4 of both of my jobs, including this one, are just making noises with my mouth. So, I'm doing something right, I suppose. Anyway, let's play the video game, shall we? Alright. Is this glass? Oh. Item? Lighter? Party? Taro? Oh, I can switch to them. Okay. Kazuo? Okay. Emmy, I assume that was her. So she has the key. Oh, I see. Okay. Talk. Nobody is there, so if I talk to you? Call if you need to open a door. Alright. Call if you need to open a door. I will. Call if you need to open a door. Thanks. Is that all you're here for? Call if you need to open a door. Okay. Alright. Okay. Would we want to switch to her because she has the vacuum cleaner? So loud? It's loud? Okay. One moment, please. Is that better? Is that any better? Let me know if it is. Oh, they're freaking out right now. Could be quieter. I'm gonna go. We'll just. That should be better. Okay. All right. Here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I'm thinking. These look like shards of glass. So maybe we use the vacuum cleaner on the shards of glass? Am I a tactical genius, perhaps? Nice. Alright. Excellently done. We're gonna switch to Kazuo because he has the most life. And then he's gonna scout forward. I don't know what's happening, but let's stick together. This place is huge. That left room. Alright. Off to the left room. Luke! A letter. Welcome to my home, photographed by Fresco, for therein lies a clue to the way out. It's from Ichiro, and that must be the Fresco. Okay, so then would I want to switch to Taro since he has the camera? Used camera. But nothing happened. Luke! Nothing? Nothing! Fruit! Fruit? Team? Nobody is there? Luke? Wax? What? Well, look. A fresco. But how to preserve it? Item, camera, used camera. Letters appear. 1-6. My three frescoes will solve a puzzle. Okay. Good to know. Switch back to Kazuo. What is this? Nothing, apparently. This is locked, probably. So let's get Emmy, because she has a key. This feels very ambitious, being able to control this many characters. Doesn't it? Is that just me? I have a feeling something bad is going... No? Okay, just a scary door opening at it? Maybe I'm just afraid of opening doors. I don't want Emmy to go in there because she has, like, basically no health. So, back to Kazuo. Also, these two should probably come into this room as well. No, not Taro. Akiko... Is it Asuka? It is Asuka. Okay. Back to Kazuo so he can explore the room since he has the most health. Luke. A note. Kanji. The frescoes contain clues. I think they're grouped by date. Okay, so the first one said 1-6. What is this? A rope barrier. Don't I have a lighter? What? What? Oh! Oh, I see. Okay, I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting... Huh. Assumedly... Run the fuck away? Interesting. I'm gonna use my lighter on this. Use lighter. It did work. Okay. That's a whole skeleton. What is this? Luke? Wood? Can I take it? I can. Okay. That's how I take items. Oh. Okay. Alright, random encounters then. Evil dog! Oh, shit! I'm gonna try to burn it. We're gonna pray. 4 prey points. There's experience? What do you mean there's experience? Everyone doing good in here? Luke? A note? Takashi, the next fresco is across and on the left, be careful. So there were others like us. Frightening. RPG survival horror game? It's just like Fear and Hunger. Let's see. He's full up on items. Who has the next highest health? Taro. That is to be expected, I assumed. Taro, well, you have the camera, which means you're very useful, but you should probably... Item, take that... Can't exchange... What do you mean, can't exchange? What? Tonic? Interesting. Emmy, do you want the knife, perhaps? I do love that they're just holding their items out directly in front of them, and they have like a little walk cycle where they swing it back and forth. Can't exchange. What do you mean, can't exchange? Use... No, I don't want to use key. Can I exchange the key, maybe? Is move not an option? It's not an option. Interesting. Can I take the tonic? Took tonic. And took the wax. So, why can't I exchange for the knife? inventory system is super not intuitive for a player, but I can see why they did it that way as a programmer. I'm kind of surprised I was able to intuit how to use it, to be honest. Back to Kazuo. Oh, okay, so it's random encounters. Haunted doll. Okay, we can just pray the evil doll away. But it looks like we have prayer points that it's using. Luke? Written in blood. Hyper-realistic blood. Power of the heart. Overcomes evil. I see. Luke. A skeleton! Oh no. Silver. Okay, well, can I item? Oh, okay. Is that... Was I using the wrong slot maybe? And this last one is the weapon slot, perhaps? We'll have to try that real quick. Wisp, what if I... Oh. Did it... Oh, okay. Wisp flash, no effect. Damn near froze the game. Okay. Luke? Wood? Okay, we don't need wood. That doesn't look... Oh, do I... Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Item, lighter, use... No, okay. I thought maybe it'd be like a... Like, HM Flash type situation. Gamers in 1998, can your graphics card handle this? Haunted doll! No, I didn't mean to attack. Pray. Used 3 prayer points. He leveled up. Does he get health for leveling up? Okay, what if I pray at the fresco? What does that do? Because I saw that was an option. Luke? Pray? Not needed. This is making me think of World of Horror, which you'd probably love if you haven't tried it yet, Jelly. I have a friend who really, really liked World of Horror. I'll have to look into that at some point. Can I use wood to make a bridge? I can! This feels dangerous. Better team up for safety. I'm so fucking smart. Do you have any idea how much of a fucking gamer I am? Alright, we're gonna bring Akiko because she has a first aid kit. And Akiko, please take this knife. Yep, okay, so it was the wrong slot. Perfect. When it says team, does that, like, consolidate them into... Should we team up? Oh, cool. Okay, nice. So I can have them follow each other around. Awesome. Okay, well, he seems like our heavy hitter. And then I think we'll just have the rest of the party stick together as well. Taro, team up. And then you team up with us. Nice. Okay, cool, 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 cool. We're learning. Another quote for the puzzle wall. Thanks, Jelly. Did I say something and not realize? I was gonna say this get really tedious if you have to move them one by one. Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. Switch to Kazuo, and I think... Oh! Luke? I don't think that did what I wanted it to. Save game? No. I think she's going to die. How do I help? Okay, you have to team up. All right. Gotcha. Whew. That could have been bad. All right. Random encounters? Worms! Oh, shit. Everyone just beat the fuck out of the worms. Get them. Worms attacked, no effect. Does not look like attacking is really doing all that much. Akiko poisoned. Okay. Can I burn the worms, perhaps? Okay, burning the worms seemed to be very effective. Akiko poison. Oh my god, okay. Can I use my first aid kit on her? Item, kit, used kit. Cured, okay. Now is that a weapon or an item that I can just consistently use? Does it heal us? It doesn't heal us, but it gets rid of status conditions. Okay. Party. Alright, we're gonna take them in here and see if maybe we can get some... We're gonna grab that wood first of all, just so that we have something to make an extra bridge with if we need to. Wisp. Vacuum. I don't think the vacuum is gonna do anything, but you know what? Fuck around and find out, I suppose. Then Emmy. Pray. Okay, so prayer is like mana, basically. Extremely powerful. Item. Take the wood. Luke? A note? One fell down but was pulled to safety. What does that mean? Luke? Oh, item. Grab the wood. I assume there will be... Can I... Let's try to make a bridge, maybe? Nice. Alright. I'm not gonna use up a bunch of resources trying to get to that club in there. This, we will pray. And we will just attack. 13 damage done. Okay. Praying might be overkill on the wisps. I think we want to save that for more powerful enemies. Probably. Let us cross the bridge as well. Help. Alright. So you use team up to save someone if they fall. Alright. And then we should all team up. Let's go. Oh, or is 3 the max that we can have in a group? Okay, team... We better split up from here. Oh no. Oh no. He's alone for a random encounter. Worms? Okay, worms I can handle. Worms I can handle because we have the lighter. That does quite a lot. 11! Damn it! God damn! Worms defeat. That's a lot of experience for defeating worms. Okay. I'm gonna bring you two with me. Team, should we team up? Sounds good to me. I think 3 might be the max. We're gonna see what the hell this thing is. Luke? Nothing? Luke? Nothing. That's Moving. I don't know what that is, but it's moving. Talk. Be brave. Oh, talk. Your tools, weapons, fire, bugs, light, bats. I see. Nobody's there? Luke? A doll! We will burn the doll. Surely, nothing ill will come of this. Also, we're not in combat. I didn't know this game was going to have combat, so it seems like the perfect time to just put that away and we're good to go. Item, lighter, burn, used lighter, but nothing happened. I see. Interesting, you can waste all your wood on that one gap and get stuck on the other side. Seems like it. Worms! Okay, worms are rough because they can poison us, but as long as we... What if I... Can I vacuum the worms, perhaps? No effect. Worms attacked, no effect. That's good, because then we'll kill them with this, and then they should be good to go. Everyone leveled up. Nice. An axe? Who doesn't have a weapon yet? Emmy can't. Can we? Interesting. Do they have stats that I'm not seeing here? 440... Interesting. Luke? Nothing? Luke? Nothing? Oh. Not floor worms again. Alright, I think we just attack. Lighter. Attack. I don't know what call does yet. Wow. That is a lot more damage. Holy shit. Can the lighter run out? I don't know. What's with this pulsating mass? Odd shadows. Can we walk over it? We can't. Interesting. Oh! A light fell. Left. Crash. Received 3 damage. I see. Oh. Live chandelier reaction, it seems. Oh, combat time. Let's get to it. Wisp! Everyone just beat the fuck out of it. Get it. Get its ass. 4 damage. 13. Alright, that axe does crazy damage. Jesus. Oh, our sprites are getting a little messed up. Should have gotten ducks. Ducks are great at evading. Oh, look at all this glass we can sweep up. Which I would assume would do damage to us if we walked over it. But I'm incredibly smart and good at video games, so we're just going to sweep it all up and we got nothing to worry about. It's interesting to think about potential consequences with it. Hold on, let me put my gun away while I talk. It's interesting to think about potential consequences with this because I'm assuming if a character dies, you just sort of lose access to their tools? And in some cases, that seems like you'd be losing completely essential functions. But in other cases, I'm not really sure. Luke? Tonic? Here, Kazuo, take the tonic. And then is that another silver knife? Luke? It's a fruit knife. I assume the silver knife is probably going to be better than the fruit knife. And we want... Okay, it seems like so once you get to this side of the room, now it's random encounter time. Which is scary, because it's a lot of worms. And it seems like the lighter is really the best thing to deal with the worms. Emmy poison, that's not good. Let's see what just attacking does. 4 damage, Worms defeated, Asuka leveled up. Emmy poisoned. Before we do anything then, we switch to Akiko. Have her come on over. Item, kit, use it up. Emmy was cured. And then we want to switch to not her. Is she poisoned as well? No, it just flashes a little to show you what character you switch to. We want to play as Taro, because he has the camera. We're going to go take a picture of this fresco as well. First, though, talk. Nobody is there. Luke at skeleton. Oh! Light fell. I was too slow. Beware. I see. So if I talk to the skeleton first, I might have been able to dodge that. Luke? Another fresco? Item? Camera? Used camera, but nothing happened. Pray? Not needed? Fresco? But how to preserve it? It is covered in dust. Oh! Okay, well. Item... I will move that. Okay. So vacuum and then take a picture, I assume? Man, vacuum cleaner ended up just... What a clutch item to bring to your haunted house exploration, man. The vacuum cleaner just coming in clutch over and over again. That also is probably why I was thinking of Luigi's Mansion. I wonder... Is Luigi's Mansion inspired by Sweet Home in that specific sense? Like, this vacuum cleaner being so useful in a haunted manor. Is that why Luigi has a vacuum? That would be really cool if so. I'd be really interested to know if how much influence this game has on, like, horror in gaming as a whole, if that's the case. Use vacuum, but nothing. Oh, I probably have to... Luke. Item. Vacuum. Use vacuum. It's clean. Alright, now we switch to Taro. Oh, well, we have to look at it first. Luke. Video essay, how Sweet Home inspired every game afterward. Listen, for all I know, this is the horror equivalent of Twin Peaks, alright? That would be really cool to discover live on stream. Letters appear. 115. One needs a mallet to remove a boulder. Good to know. So, first one was 1-6, that one was 115. How are we looking? How's the party looking? A little banged up. Akiko is in really bad shape, which is rough. So we're gonna make sure that she's not in the main traveling party. Always impresses me how they do so much with so little in these old games. Yeah, it's really cool to see. Alright, well, this wisp is gonna fucking die. Alright, assumedly 2 locked doors. Let's check out this first. Is this just a what? Oh, interesting. Luke? No, Takashi, the 3rd fresco upstairs. Luke? This bronze statue? Nobody is there. Is the whisper in glasses, or am I seeing something? I will have to... I've been checking to see if that's the case. Item... Key. Use the key. God, I wonder... Especially with, like, the door opening animation, is Luigi's Mansion inspired by Sweet Home? Can someone see if there's any, like, developer commentary on Luigi's Mansion? If maybe it has to be. I'm seeing a lot of similarities here. Luke, in blood, avoid the shadows. Oh. I'm looking at it, but I'm not seeing anything. The wisp? Okay, I see the glasses now. I'm kind of... It's... I am seeing the glasses now. Just that it came to be because, quote, Actually, there was an idea of using a ninja mansion or Japan-style house. Finally, we decided to use a European-style building which can also resemble some of the older mansions in the United States. There was an original plan which encompassed the stages revolving around a big house or apartment complex, which is something that they used in Luigi's Mansion 2. They don't specify about why they wanted to build a game around a mansion. Interesting. Very interesting. Anyway, we're in combat now, so let's get to it. Wisp. Everyone just beat the fuck out of it. Item. Lighter. Lighter. Item. Can you wield the spear, Emmy? Silver and oak switched. Okay. Well, there's a problem now, because if we want to get to the end of this room, we would have to walk in the shadows. Oh, we're fine, though. Oh, okay. Made it to the other side. We can burn this with the lighter, and now we can just cross that gap however we need. Nice. Miyamoto says Luigi's Mansion was inspired by Resident Evil, so indirectly inspired by Sweet Home, I suppose. Cool. Good to know. I'm not doing too great at switching between models, but I guess I only really notice when I need the other one. Everyone beat the fuck out of him. Alright, I'm feeling very powerful right now. If I just used all my wood also, I imagine I could just get directly to this side without having to go all the way around. Which is cool, because that makes me think, is the game accounting for you losing the key because Emmy died, so you can't unlock the door to get around here? So it has an alternate path, so you're not just completely fucked. That's very cool if so. Kakashi, if one is caught, pray. Good to know. Oh. Well, that sucks. That stuff looks kind of useful. Luke? Nothing? A note. Etsuko, you can find a spare camera and key in other rooms. Find them. Oh, okay, so camera and key are so essential that if the character using them dies, they have replacements. Oh, I don't have to switch to her either. I can just use the key from here. Nice. Yeah, let's put this gun away real quick, huh? Alright. Oh, very big room. With a bat. You know, Bats! Alright, I'm pretty sure there was a thing that said praying works. Low points? Okay. It looks like our prayer points are like way above the amount that we actually have. Okay. Let's just get the fuck away. Everyone failed. Or did it say to use the lighter on bats? I can't remember. No effect. Asuka attacks 5 damage, 4 damage. Maybe we just attack? Bats bit, no effect. That scares me because it makes me feel like there's a low chance that it does like poison. Pretty sure the limit of 3 characters per team is a hardware limitation. You can see the sprites flicker when you stand in a horizontal line, since only so many sprites can be drawn at once on the Famicom. Interesting! I don't want to fight the other bats. But I think we're probably going to have to. So let's do so on our own terms. Combat time, baby. Let's get to it. That's not bats! Skull! Three damage, 9 damage. Oh, shit! I mean, just took 13. That's not good. 8 damage, 9 or 6 damage, 2 damage. Asuka poisoned. Okay, well. Skull defeated. Don't. There was another bat. That's... We got a random encounter before the bats. Oh, that's so fucking bad. Oh, no. Asuka. Frey. Emmy. Frey. Okay. Just stay right where you are. You gotta come help. You gotta come help. Do either of you have wood? No, you have to go all the way around. That's so bad. That's so bad. This is bad. Oh. We're on the way. God damn it. God damn it. Worms! That's not good. We don't have... Oh, no. I'll shoot that VTuber. No wonder you were excited for that. Right? Hey, Mary. Good to see you, man. Also, wow, OBS is bugging out a little. It's not showing any of people's chat icons for me. Maybe because I'm running an admin? I don't know. But yeah, Maddie made it. Wow, I really don't want to be using my fucking prayer on worms. Okay, good. Good. Just get the fuck out of there. Let's put that away real quick. Alright. The doctor is in! No longer poisoned. Alright, good. Take that wood. Luke? A rune spear. Okay. She definitely needs something better than a fruit knife. So we will be taking that. Are you playing as Nanjo? No, this is a female doctor. Nanjo is nowhere to be seen. This is a non-Joe character. Nanja? Oh no, I upload my own VODs. I don't need a Nanja. Luke? Fire! Yeah, I guess so. What if I use wood on the fire? Used wood, but nothing happened? Okay, I was a little worried it might consume it for a moment there. We are really just taking a lot of health damage here, huh? Alright, time to use the vacuum cleaner. Oh, look out! Duck! Kazuo ducked! Crash! Received 3... God damn it! Alright. Time for some Luigi's Mansion gameplay? Are you kidding me? Can you pray? Maybe? Oh, that's not good. That's not good. We don't have any prayer points. Fuck. She doesn't have any left either. Okay, well, it's... I guess we're just gonna have to beat the fuck out of it and hope for good damage. 15 damage! Jesus! God damn. That's so much. Gotta vacuum up all the glass, because I assume walking over it... Either we can't walk over it, or it does damage to us. I assume it would do damage, because what if Asuka dies? Okay. Let us commence forth. Luke? Dead. Why did you abandon me? Rat? Luke? A note? Shogo, to go beyond, turn on the generator first. Oh, there must be a generator nearby. Wow, a sharp one, this Kazuo. Luke? Old sword. I don't know if that would be better or worse. We have a lot of wood. A lot of wax as well. Let's unlock this door. I hate random encounters, at least implementation of them. Yeah, although it is interesting to look at this and see, like, the game is treating health as a resource. And as far as I know, it's not a resource that can be replenished unless... Let me see something real quick. Let's go to Emmy. Does tonic replenish health? Use tonic. Life restored. Okay. Okay. Tonic. Wow. Okay, she has a lot more health now. Jesus. Did that heal everyone? I think that did heal everyone. Interesting. Okay. Let's bring them up here. Of course. If this is a skull, we might be fucked. It's worms. Okay, we can deal with worms. We'll just run away. And hopefully it works. Get the fuck out of there. Anyway, what was I saying? It's using random encounters as a way of forcefully draining your health as a resource, right? And in much the same way as, like, it's reminding me a lot of Fear and Hunger in a lot of ways, where if you're playing Fear and Hunger effectively and properly in a lot of ways, you want to avoid fights as much as possible, because there isn't much to gain from fighting anything, but there is a lot to lose from fighting things. Now, granted, there is an experience system in this game, so there is something to gain from fighting. I don't understand the intricacies of how the RPG mechanics work, but you do gain experience from fighting. In something like Fear and Hunger, though, which definitely would fit the survival horror genre to a T, I would say. There is no benefit to most combat situations outside of specific enemies or, like, really knowing what you're doing. If you're getting into a fight without planning on getting into that fight, you're probably making a mistake, right? And when I say planning on getting into that fight, I mean you sought that fight out, not it happened to you or you were expecting a fight. I mean, if you're getting into a fight in Fear and Hunger and it's not a fight that you prepared for, you knew where it was going to happen, and you went to that location for that fight, you're probably making a mistake, and you will be punished for it. But yeah, it's interesting to see that even as far back as something like this. Use our tonic as well. We probably should have waited on that. How's the party looking? Yeah, we probably should have waited on that. Back to Kazuo. Go away, this is not your place. Oh! Okay, damn, if you say so. Used key, but nothing happened. Huh. I have a bad feeling about having this many people in my party as I go to this section. Fucking no! How much prayer did it? Full! Okay. So I think we want to wait to use our tonics. As long as we possibly can. Because it seems like using a tonic fully restores your health and prayer. And that is a massive resource gain. Skull must be a gambler. He's got snake eyes. +2, +2. Also, I'm drawing my weapon. That's unrelated. Kazuo poison. Fuck. Skull defeated. Alright. Kazuo poisoned. Akiko, help! Help! Thank you. Alright. Back to Kazuo. Let us use some of our wood. Surely you can run away from a skeleton easily? We should try that next time. There's the third fresco. Man, a fucking random... Goddamn. Goddamn. Zombie! Does he have required a third dimension? Does this mean we can know what's under the bag? My weapon is drawn. This is related. 3 damage. 5. Okay, so not a lot of physical damage. Zombie swipe, no effect. Let's try the lighter on him. See if that does anything particularly good. No effect from the lighter. 23 damage on Asuka. God damn. Okay. I don't want to use that much, so we're gonna use it like somewhere in the fucking aim for the middle and reach and swing for the fucking fences. Apparently, god damn, just can't help but overachieve and waste my resources. Luke, the generator is east. Luke, log. What the fuck is what a oh what help? Fucking snatched? I thought that was a Hideo Kojima game. Run the fuck away. I think if we go here and Luke, we can pray? Not need. The fuck do you mean not needed? Okay, so okay, she's fine. Just group up with these. Team up? Should we team up? Please? Thank you. Alright, cool. So you can just get fucking snatched. Something that's really interesting about that, actually, is like, we got snatched, yes, but we can just instantly change perspective. It makes me think of, like, if this were another survival horror game where your perspective is more limited to just the one character you're playing, like, if a character got snatched in... I'm using Fear and Hunger as a really strong reference point here. If a party member gets snatched in Fear and Hunger, which can happen on multiple occasions, like, they're kind of just fucked. You're not in control of them and you don't know what's happening to them unless you're familiar with the event that's happening and know where to go. Like, if I wasn't able to just switch to Emmy there, she was just kind of fucking gone and there was nothing I can do about it. But because I can switch to her and because I have full control over my entire party, it's interesting. It's interesting the degree of, like, there's a moment of panic, but, like, I do have a lot of control in this situation. It's like when Elise gets snatched on Sonic 06, you can go check in on them instead of following Sonic. I see. Yeah, I mean, kinda, yeah. Someone's gonna fall. Yep, I figured. Fucking Taro. You saved me. Alright, you just stay right there, Asuka, I think? Look! A fresco, but how to preserve it? Item? Camera? Letters appear. 1023. The mallet is under the desk in the room with a small beast. Okay, so mallet is under the desk in the room with the rat. We need the mallet to smash a boulder, and I don't remember what the first fresco said. Uh-oh. That's not good. Please don't be a zombie. I don't want to... Okay. Let's just use some of our... Just a little bit. That's not enough. I'm sure it's fine. Taro was stunned. That's bad. Maybe use a lot of it? No effect! Taro's frozen? Do we need the first aid kit? Is this a snake? Oh, it's rope. Okay, we will take that. We will exchange that for the wax. That's not good. Do we have any wood? We can grab wood here. I probably shouldn't be going off on my own, but it's just a little... It's just a small venture. I need as few people to cross this bridge as possible. Can I team up with you and unfreeze you? Can't team up now? I see. We will take that. I don't know what we need a log for, but we will also take that. Can she take the rune axe? Asuka can't. Okay. Can only men use the axe then? Does the lighter unfreeze? I assume I need to use the first aid kit on him. And he's not frozen in the sense of like that kind of frozen. Oh, that's bad. There we go. Okay. Item. Where's the first aid kit? Push to Akiko. Taro's free. Okay, there we go. Breaking Sonic news, there will be a 4th movie? Yeah, obviously, right? I watched the 3, it ends with a teaser for the 4th. Worms! Oh, shit! Right. Akiko will attack, Asuka will also attack, and Kazuo has the lighter, which is what we really want. Worm's dead. Team up. Do we have wood? We do have wood. Use some wood. Alright. Then we're gonna go to Kazuo. Go get Taro. Get the fuck out of there. Team up. Taro, take this axe if you can. Take this wax if you can. Then we'll team up. And then cross the bridge. There we go. We're out of there. Nice. Nicely done. You know, I assumed we would only need 1 stream of this game because I would do so. I would like fuck up really bad and everyone would die, and then it'd be like, oh, that was an interesting experience. But maybe we'll only need 1 stream of this game because I'm an elite alpha male gamer and I'm gonna beat it first rip because I'm just that good and I understand game mechanics that well and I'm just intuiting everything I need to do. Luke! Nothing? Okay, well... I was told that underneath the desk were the room with a small beast. Also, let me put my gun away. Maybe that'll help with investigating a little. You know? Luke? Mallet. Oh, there it is. Okay. Took the mallet. All right. So now we need to find a boulder somewhere, and not just in our chat room. No, fuck off, bats, fuck off. Worms! Oh, fuck. Worm time! Lighter, attack. Should be dead. Yep, damn, Emmy is a fucking powerhouse. Oh, right. Back here. Well, hold on, is it like a one-time use deal? Or is this not boulders? Hold on, let's save. Okay, well, I know what we're doing. We're getting the fuck out of here. That's what we're rolling up the shop and we're getting the fuck home. Absolutely not. Boulders blocked our way out. We have a mallet. We're getting the fuck out of here. It's the right thing to do. Luke, pills? A reference for the Left 4 Dead 2 streams later. Move. Took the pills. Luke. A camera. We already have one. And Luke. Wire. Ah, wire. Oh my god. It's always something with this haunted mansion. Worms! Alrighty, item. Can we use a log? But nothing. Alright, back to Asuka. Just the girlies, you know. Just the girlies on their own. Fucking bats! No. Oh. That was close. I forgot about the bats. I forgot about the bats. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. I'm ready. Let's do this shit. Oh! This is unnecessary. Yeah, that's gonna do insane damage. Alright. Item. Wood. Make a temporary bridge. Item. Wood. Make a temporary bridge. Alright, let's get the fuck out of here. That's not good. Does that happen if you try to cross with a whole group? Is that to split them up, maybe? Is that why that happens? If your group is too large? That's to split it up? Oh, fuck. The glasses wisp is back. 32 damage is crazy. Better split up from here. Take care. Okay, yeah. Well, that's rough, because now Emmy's on her own, but I think she'll be able to survive the, like, lower level mobs that are in this area. She should be fine. Fucking worms! Just run. Yeah, running away from worms is very easy. Take it from me, Jelly Channel. You know? There's perhaps not a creature on this earth easier to run away from than worms. Okay, I know that we're trying to get the fuck out of here, but what? Oh, okay, nothing happens, so that's fine, that's fine. We don't care if anything happens. We're trying to get the hell out of here. Not a wisp. Done and dusted. All right, we had our fun little haunted mansion romp. Let's get the okay. 3 people total can walk across it before. No, that's not true. It looks like it takes damage every time someone walks across it, but the amount I'm not sure of. All right, let's team up. Oh, you weren't you as well? Let's team up. Get us the fuck out of here, Emmy. But nothing happened. That's quite bad. That's quite bad considering that we used all of our wood to get back to this side. And I don't think there's any wood left. What if we use a rope? What? What? Can I grab someone by doing that? What does that do? Alright, we're gonna quit and then... erase all data? No? How do I load my save? Let me check something real quick. Hold on. Check the manual. There's no mention of loading. Hold on. Let's go verbatim so that we get results that actually matter. All right. None of these results are helpful. That's not good. What does restart do? Presumably load from the main right, but here's the thing, if we quit, it says erase all data. Which I don't want to do. Oh, okay, restart, begin at last save. Yes. There we go. Okay. Nice. Alright. Then we want to take this. Pills. I don't know what the pills are for. And the wire also seems like it might be useful, but I'm not really sure what we would want to swap out for it. So we'll just leave it there. We can always come back. Okay. I don't think we've explored over here yet. Well. Kazuo just got fucking snatched. No, not an evil doll. Well, I didn't mean to... Well, I was gonna pray the doll away, but I guess smashing it with a giant fucking axe also works rather effectively. Hey, can we team up and then grab this Metroid? Nothing! Rune weapons prevent fear and curses. I see. Minute last save? No. Rocks block the way? Well, if that's the case, we got a mallet. You don't have room for that, but it is quite useful. How do we... Okay, there we go. Surely there's gotta be, like, a flashlight we can get at some point, right? Surely? Worms! The leveling system intrigues me, because that feels like something really, like, antithetical to the survival horror experience. Which, I guess, granted, this is the first one, so people looking at this game and trying to iterate on it probably also thought that, it didn't mesh with the genre. Used key, but nothing happened. Luke? Locked? Okay. Maybe wax candles over lighting? That's a very good point. Let's try that. It is! Nice! I wouldn't have thought of that. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Let's beat the fuck out of him. Unfortunately, this guy decided to tussle with the 3 people in the party who do the most damage, I think. Emmy is stunned? That's bad. I'm sorry, why is Emmy taking damage when we attack? Team up. Let's go get Akiko and Asuka. We're all the way upstairs. Jesus. Old games are really just made to kill epileptics on sight. Yeah. Yeah, that's something I probably should have accounted for. Yet another reason in retrospect why we're only playing this for one stream. 6 damage, 14 damage. Asuka poisoned, that's not good. But luckily we have just the person on the team. Item, kit, used kit. Asuka cured. Took some unnecessary damage, but it's okay. We're here to help. What happened to the fucking candle? Emmy is free. Team back up with us. Should we team up? Yeah, safest in numbers. Or safety in numbers, rather. A fire extinguisher? I don't know what the rope does, but I'm hesitant to leave it behind. So maybe the girlies can take the fire extinguisher? They do have the room. Can probably use the fire extinguisher on the fireplace and something might happen? Perhaps? Is that a broom? Broom. Match. Okay. This is another thing I hadn't considered as part of the survival horror experience. Inventory management. I can't say I'm particularly a fan of it, but it is another vector of resource management, is not being able to carry everything with you. You hadn't? I hadn't. I was thinking mostly in resource management in terms of resource strain, as in you have resources and then they are drained, so it's about draining them as slowly as possible. I hadn't considered the fact that in a lot of survival horror games, you just have to leave stuff behind. I played Dead Space very economically. Huh. Okay, well, I would quite like to have these things, but I don't think we have the room for them. I'll know where they are if we need them later, I suppose. Oh, we're just fully in a dark section of the mansion now. That's rough. Well, let's get to it. Another zombie. I think we just try to run the fuck away, because it's not worth fighting. Kazuo, lock in, dude. You have to lock in. Jesus. Luke? A note. Let's go. Flashlight, shadow. Wow. I'll tell you. He has such a way with words. Whoever the fuck that was. Damn, okay. The zombies are a real problem. Power took 1 damage. Run the fuck away before it gets worse. Lightfell, duck! That's probably the wrong thing to do. Huge 3 damage. Alright. I'm not sure what the correct course of action would be when that happens. I assume, do we have any wood? We don't have any wood. Look out! Left! What the hell was that? Used key, but nothing happened. Used key, but nothing happened. The master of unlocking. Oh no, bats. Luke. Shiv. Okay, not a weapon. Run the fuck away. Everyone fit. Yeah, I guess they are bats, huh? 6 damage. 22 damage! Jesus, Kazuo! Not again! Done, bats defeated. Okay, so if we need a shiv, we can come back there. Let's go Team Girl Squad, and we'll have them go back and see if they can use the fire extinguisher on the fireplace, if that does anything. Nothing happened. Come on. I'm not being rewarded for my careful thinking. This is bullshit. I hate it here. Skull, get the fuck away from that. Run the fuck away from Skull. How did you both fail? Run away. It is and Skull. Jesus. Okay. I don't think there's anything left to do in this part of the mansion. Unless I'm forgetting what the frescoes say. Oh, well, fuck. Okay, that's not that bad. Does anyone remember what the frescoes said? Something about the... We need to find generators in the east, so we're looking for the generator room right now. We have a candle. Hold on, these two have a candle as well. I don't know if the candles run out. I assume they do, but maybe not. It would be really, really bad if they did. Run the fuck away. You two are not prepared to fight a zombie. Get the fuck out of there. Alright. Oh, this is a room. Hello there, skeleton. You don't have a message next to you, so I assume talking to you will give me something. Takashi, go quickly. The generator is East Garden. Ugh. Worms! 13 damage, 6 damage. Worms attack, no effect. Worms defeated, Akiko leveled up. Use some wood. Alright, and now we gotta be careful to only really have, like, one of them really cross. That's a lot of bats. Holy shit, that's a lot of bats. Oh my god. Oh my god, that's so many bats. We're just gonna run away from the worms. What do you mean, nothing? Oh, this is bad. This is bad. This is bad. This is bad. A chair? Right! Okay. Right! Okay, so it looks like you dive right for chairs. Okay, get the fuck out of here. I wanna read the note. I wanna read the note. Luke! A note. Takashi, head north for the East Garden. Okay, noted. Let's figure out what the spear is. Luke? Rune spear, item. It's better than my oak spear, so we will be taking that. And then I will snatch this wood, because wood seems like one of the best resources in the game. Worms are easy to run from, so we will do that. Fine. Fucking ship it and clip it, I guess. Lock in. Take it. Take the wood. Get the fuck out of there. Okay. I'm not sure. That's bad. That's quite bad. Do we have any prayer? I don't think it's worth using that. Run the fuck away. Okay, nice. I don't know where to go next. It's to the north? What's up with this statue? Luke? Nothing. Okay. Used wood, but nothing happened? Okay. That's a gap we can't cross. The only gaps that you can cross with wood are the ones that don't have jagged edges. That's so bad. Okay. So what do we need to do here? What do we need? I think in that room with all the bats we ran away from, there was a gap that we could fill with wood. So I think we just have to go back that way. With the girlies. But I'm afraid that this is going to break. Yep, I figured it would. And now we're stuck on this side. Oh. Hello? Game froze? Just give it a bit. Perfect time to take a little sippy. It lied to me. Fuck. That's not fair. That's not fair. You're not allowed to do that to me. That's bullshit. That's complete bullshit. Item, wood. Used wood. Okay, so it's too large of a gap to cross. Is that when we use the log, maybe? For gaps that are larger than one? Shit, they can't make it across. They can't make it across. That's really costly just to try and see whether that's the case. I don't know why, but for some reason the position I need to keep my wrist in to play this is really locking me up. Maybe I just need to move the mouse pad or wrist, whatever it is. How's the party looking? I mean, health-wise, we're good. Can we cross that gap up there to get to the skeleton, maybe? Worms! Not again! Log doesn't really feel like it would be used for larger gaps. Yeah. 15 damn! Get the fuck away! They're just worms! Okay. Not a fan of the random encounters, I must say. I'm not a fan of the random encounters. No, not attack. Run the fuck away. Asuka, get the fuck out of there. Asuka, please just get the fuck out of there. Chasm, if only we had a bridge. Okay. Luke. Okay. Bat time. We can't just evade them forever, I suppose. Fuck. They don't have the mallet. Shit. Oh, never mind. That was nothing. That was nothing then. Oops. All right, pray the bats away. I'm trying to get it low enough. There we go. Okay. Took F light. All right, let's cross. I think we're done in this room. Wait a fucking... Oh no. They don't have a way back across. So are we just fucked? Huh. Are we just fucked? I wouldn't put it past a game this old to just be like, yeah, you don't have any wood to get them back across, you're fucked, restart. But I would be kind of annoyed if that's what happened. Can log be used for bridging single gaps? Perhaps? I have an idea, hold on. Poisoned is not good, but luckily we have the medkit right here. Can I... Nice, okay. Let's split up for a second. Howdy, hey folks! Welcome, welcome! How's it going, everyone? Happy Monday. Amazing VTuber, go to Avatar. Thank you! Designed by the one and only Madison Bake. Play Magenta Horizon. Holy fuck, your PNG tuber rule. Thank you! Yep, I had Maddie whip this up for me because currently we are in the middle of a month-long event, the Death March. Back in October of last year, I believe, I did a charity stream with Smoker the White, Mouse, and Allison. And one of the incentives for the money that we raised for charity was to do a themed month of streams. Everyone was free to choose their own theme. I'm not sure what Smoker the White and Allison are doing. I know Mouse is doing cozy games and stuff like that for March. I chose survival horror games. So I had Maddie whip me up this PlayStation 1 styled model based on the outfits that the STARS operatives use in Resident Evil 1. I'm really, really happy with how it came out. Maddie, you absolutely outdid yourself. But yeah, right now we are currently playing Sweet Home, a game for the Famicom that is the direct inspiration for Resident Evil. I believe they have the same creative director. We have a very, very fun set list. Largely, what I'm looking at with this month of streams, didn't really need to be a thesis statement. Hi, Alduin, good to see you. Didn't really need to be a thesis statement, but what I'm looking at with a lot of my games is I've always been fascinated with horror, and I find it really annoying that when it comes to horror games, a lot of people tend to have a very narrow view of the genre, which is to say, if it's not scary, then it's not really a horror game. Now, I know I'm sort of, you know, man, I wonder whose particular point of view might have inspired my own point of view in this regard. Perhaps not so much preaching to the choir as preaching to the mob with their pitchforks and torches raised in this particular regard. But the thing that I wanted to examine in regards to that claim is the survival horror genre, which is a genre that is largely based on this juxtaposition of your agency as a player who is mastering these systems of survival and the horror that is inflicted by the resource drain and resource strain of the inventory management and just general combat mechanics. And so I'm looking through a bunch of games in chronological release order and seeing what are the fundamentals of the genre, where were they founded, what were the original iterations of them, and how do games going forward through the years play with those fundamentals in order to create new and unique experiences. How do developers inflict horror through aesthetics and resource strain, right? That's the general idea that I'm going with. And one of the largest things to consider with a lot of these games that I'm playing is what do developers choose to use as a resource in their games, right? And what makes Sweet Home, which is not survival horror because it predates the term, what makes Sweet Home interesting, and what really made me want to play it, more so than it being the direct predecessor to Resident Evil, which is where the term was codified. In Sweet Home, let me show you the party real quick here. You have 5 different characters that you're controlling, and if a character dies, they're dead for good. There's permadeath in this game. If I'm understanding correctly, there's permadeath and multiple endings, which is to say that it's completely possible all of your characters die, and then you just have to start over from the beginning or a save. And I find that to be really, really fascinating, because I think in a lot of horror games, or at least in a lot of the survival horror games that I'm used to, or at least are part of the, like, general idea of what the survival horror genre is, and even just straight up horror games in the modern lens, when you die, you just sort of reload your save and the tension is lost in that sense, right? So it's Fire Emblem but with worse combat? In a sense, yes. In a sense. It even has, well, Fire Emblem doesn't have random encounters, but this game does have random encounters, which is part of how it inflicts a lot of horror in terms of resource strain, and, you know, the tension of random encounters is itself something that I hadn't really considered now that I think about it. Because if random encounters can happen anywhere you're walking around the mansion, and you don't really have any way to avoid them, other than stuff like there are bats that will fly, and if they make contact with your character, it activates combat, it does sort of give you this overwhelming tension, or at least this persistent tension at all times while playing the game, that at any moment combat could start. Which is something interesting, because I don't think there's any other survival horror game I've played that has random combat encounters like that. I feel like in a lot of the survival horror games I'm familiar with, combat is something that happens at set intervals. And so, then the reason why it happens in set intervals is, generally speaking, survival horror games are trying to strain your resources, but they are not trying to completely exhaust your resources unless you're playing poorly, right? And so I think, and this will probably be something to examine going forward with it, with the series of streams that I'm doing, something interesting to look at is, are random encounters avoided in future games because they are specifically trying to avoid the player becoming soft-locked, right? Because if you were to get soft-locked in a game like, I don't know, Resident Evil 4 is, I assume, like somewhere between 15 to 20 hours long, right? At least I think it's somewhere in between that point. Let's say that you're towards the end of Resident Evil 4. If you get soft-locked, you're just fucked. And that's a long game to have to restart, right? But with something like Sweet Home, where there's definitely an emphasis on replayability with multiple endings and with character deaths that don't instantly result in the game over, and just a restart and quit option from the in-game menu, I'm wondering if random encounters were removed from future survival horror games so that the resource strain could be more carefully curated, because they're trying to avoid a soft lock, whereas in this game it's my belief that a soft lock is part of the learning experience. It's very possible for you in this game, I believe, to just run out of the resources that are essential to navigating through the mansion and just be fucked. And then you're supposed to just start over and play it again from the beginning. Like, that is the expected progression path of the game. So you're proposing that roguelikes are horror games? Joking, but not kinda? Well, not that roguelikes are horror games, though it could be said that roguelikes and horror could mesh pretty well, considering the permadeath mechanics inherent to the genre, I would say. It would be a very difficult balancing act, because I think what a lot of roguelikes struggle with is the interplay between permadeath and encouraging the player to get back into a run after they lose all of their progress. That's a really difficult hump to overcome. How do you make the game enjoyable enough to replay when dying means you have to start from the very beginning? If starting over from the very beginning is too much of an obstacle, you lose the will to replay, right? And that's why something like the hardcore mode in Dead Space 3 might be a little difficult, or why the hardcore mode in Dead Space, I say Dead Space 3, I mean the Dead Space series after 2, why hardcore mode is considered to be such an immense challenge, because it's taking that idea of permadeath and applying it to a very long game, right? If that were just what the game was entirely, if we were to look at just the hardcore mode of, let's say, the Dead Space remake, where if you die once, it's back to the very beginning of the game. If we're talking just in terms of genre descriptivism, and we look at roguelikes as games with somewhat randomized elements to them, and permadeath, which requires you to start the game over from the very beginning when you lose a run, it could be said that the hardcore mode in Dead Space has roguelike mechanics, right? But I think what separates it from a more traditional roguelike experience is that length of play. A roguelike is not expecting you to sink double-digit hours into any given run. A roguelike run is ideally, I would say, like an hour-long tops, maybe a little over. If you're reaching into the 2-hour mark of a roguelike run, I think that's starting to tip into the territory of, this is too long for me to, if I restart, get right back into another run. It's too large of a time commitment, right? Are we having a genre descriptivist versus genre prescriptivist discussion? This really tingles my linguistic organs. We kind of are, yes, because a lot of my perspective on horror games, and why I think the perspective that they need to be scary, otherwise they're not horror, a lot of why I find problems with that perspective is it feels like a very narrow idea of what the genre is capable of, and it feels like it is prescriptivist in a negative sense. It is far too limiting in terms of the experiences that it allows the genre to explore, shall we say. Right? I think horror doesn't require fear. I think it requires distress. That's an excellent way of putting it, yes. It requires some level of distress. That's a really good way of putting it. Thank you for that. Games that are actually more like Rogue tend to have long-ass runs, like Tales of Majayal. I see. Meta progression. You don't actually start from the very beginning. Example, let's say a player gathers karma points, so to speak, during their first game. After your permadeath in a second run, after your permadeath in a second run, you can spend these to improve your starting point. Story progression may even be gated behind this, but whether this is still horror kind of depends on the aesthetic. I see. Yeah, meta progression is also something to consider that's part of the modern roguelike experience as well. Whereas a more traditional one wouldn't have that kind of meta progression. It would be just purely based on... I guess the meta progression would be knowledge of your game, like the game in a sense. I got real nervous when a boss in Baldur's Gate 3 Honor Mode run crippled half my team turn 1. I guess I get the idea. Yeah. I'm using a lot of words to say that I think that horror is, as a genre, far more expansive than just, is the game scary? And I think that viewing horror as just, did the game scare me, is harmful, not just to the perception of the genre as a whole, but I think also to one's own capacity to enjoy art or consider art in a large variety of ways. Which, if we're to get a bit direct, is probably why people took so much of an issue with Joe saying that Soma wasn't a horror game. Right? Because obviously subjectivity is implied, and that's him saying that he doesn't think that Soma qualifies as a horror game by his own personal metric, right? And when we break down a statement like that, it's fair enough to just say, I disagree, right? The problem then becomes, I think I disagree with the opinion strong enough that I almost take umbrage with its existence, which is a me problem. That's nothing to say like, oh, it's Joe's fault for not being able to expand his view of what the horror game, what the horror genre is capable of. I just personally think that viewing it so narrowly is robbing yourself of what the experience or what the genre has to offer. You think this is why Joe is awful at judging horror games? It's difficult to say. I wouldn't say he's awful, because he's coming at it from a certain perspective, right? And obviously, like I said, I disagree with that perspective quite vehemently. Vehemently? I'm not really sure how that word is pronounced. But that's that slightly before you explain all that? Yeah, gotcha. Where was I going with that? I don't know. Aesthetically, it's going forward at the very least. Let's see. That might have been you expanding on a previous thing that you said. Or just talking about Soma going for horror aesthetically. I think by my qualifications, Soma would be a horror game, because aesthetically, it's definitely going for horror, and narratively, it's going for horror. Now, the gameplay is clearly designed to inflict a certain level of fear. Whether it's effective at that or not is up to personal interpretation. I don't believe it was very effective at that, and that's largely due to it being somewhat clunky mechanically, but it's clearly attempting to inflict horror. Now, the gameplay side of that being less successful than the narrative side of that is a consideration to be made for how effective of a horror experience it is, right? But for me, I think I'm looking at horror as a collection of aesthetic and intent, rather than an idea of being scared. I feel like I didn't phrase that entirely properly. How can I say it? Even if I didn't experience the horror that Soma was intended to deliver, I still believe that given everything about it, I would have a very difficult time ever saying that it is not a horror game. Does that make sense? I'm not sure whether that's descriptive or prescriptive, though. I haven't brushed up on those terms soon enough, or enough, rather, and I also haven't brushed up on them in the context of genre descriptivism versus prescriptivism, which is definitely something that I should do, because it seems to be something that's very directly entwined. It's for sure descriptive, the morally superior way to be, I see. If I'm remembering correctly, in a general sense, descriptive is based on how I experience it, what it is, and prescriptive is based on what it is supposed to be. It is prescribed, as in what it should be. Prescriptive is I care about the dictionary definition, and descriptive is how do people use it when it comes to language. I see, gotcha. Yeah. So in that sense, I would have a far more descriptive view of the horror genre, rather than a more prescriptive view in that sense. Gotcha. Okay. Cool. We are gonna see if... So I just learned distress is a good word, but I feel distress/fear when I get close to killing a big boss in a Souls-like. Are they now horror games? Some of them, I'd argue, yes. If that happens in Hades 2, is Hades 2 now horror? Nah. So I think we really need to land on horror being a collection of aesthetic choices, disturbing or disgusting or threatening. Yes, aesthetic is definitely a massive part of what differentiates between a horror experience and an experience which is just tense, right? Would I say Dark Souls is a horror game? I don't think I would. No, it has some horror elements, and the gameplay is designed to inflict prolonged distress on the player, but I wouldn't say that Dark Souls is a horror game. Bloodborne, however, is absolutely a horror game. Bloodborne is, by my definitions, undoubtedly a horror game, because it is playing with the aesthetics of horror 100%, right? It is designed to inflict some level of fear. The narrative is designed around this fear or these grotesque mutations and transformations that are happening to characters. There's a focus on blood and grime and gristle and gore, right? And another G word that brings to mind all these horror ideas. Bloodborne specifically takes from cosmic Lovecraftian horror. Yeah, it's got a vibe of disquiet. Disquiet is a lovely word. That's a really good word to use for it. I'm loving listening to this conversation, but it's too late, so I gotta go to sleep. Have a good one, Repnir. Thanks for sticking around, especially for me going on, God, what must be 20 minutes of yapping since the Raiders arrived, just to explain why I'm playing a bunch of survival horror games. I think an important aspect of horror games is, can you fight back effectively? Unfortunately, this leads to the awkward definition of horror where the Leon chapters in RE9 are not horror, but the Grace chapters are. That's where I'm gonna diverge from you to some degree. Because that's something that is actually one of my quote-unquote mission statements with examining survival horror. Because I think part of the survival horror experience, an essential aspect of the survival horror experience, I would go so far as to say, is not just the resource strain, but the mastery over your environment. I think in a survival horror game that is designed effectively, or at least in the ones that I've experienced, there is a tipping point where the horror of the resource strain becomes mastery over mechanics. And it becomes more so about efficiency on the player side as a means of displaying skill, right? And I think that tip from disempowerment to empowerment is also part of what makes survival horror so compelling. Because part of the survival genre in games is not just the idea that you are scraping to survive, but that the culmination of survival is security. Right? If you're playing a survival game and you manage to effectively take control of the environment and use your resources to their fullest, it doesn't stop being a survival game because you are no longer stressed for how to survive. Right? If I'm playing Subnautica, and part of Subnautica is needing to manage my food and water, and I plant watermelons, and now I'd never have to worry about water and food ever again. Sorry, I said Soma, I meant Subnautica. If I'm playing Subnautica and I find a way to effectively manage my hunger and water infinitely, it doesn't stop being a survival game because survival isn't a challenge anymore, right? And so in much the same way, a survival horror game doesn't stop being horror when you master the mechanics enough to fight back effectively, right? So I think that helplessness transitioning into mastery and competency is a key part of the genre. Some games even use it narratively rather effectively. I'm largely pulling from Dead Space because that's my favorite survival horror and the first one that I started with. In Dead Space, the visual progression of Isaac's competence in the situation is a large factor of the game and of his character, right? As you progress through the game, you are going from this dingy little engineer suit to a fully armored, hulking mass of interlocking copper plates, right? So you can visually see that Isaac becomes a master of his environment in much the same way that you, the player, become a master of the gameplay systems and what was previously a combat system designed to instill fear because you need to aim carefully under pressure becomes this expression of skill as you find ways to take out enemies in as few shots as possible. Some of the most famous horror movies have the monster lose at the end. How many times has Jason died? Now, yeah, part of a horror experience is the release of tension, or rather, can be the release of tension, right? I love that the aesthetic of the armor in Dead Space is that you're welded into it in a near permanent way because Isaac transforming himself to cope with the environment is its own horror. Yeah, and I love love that Dead Space 2 carries that forward with a genre shift as well. I love that Dead Space 2 uses Isaac's previous game mastery over his environment as a narrative excuse to lean more heavily into action, to use kinesis as a weapon rather than just a tool. Y'all listening to this, but the background OST is looped 12 times already, and I fear my sanity meter is being drained at a higher than average rate. Maybe we get some AA music for healing. I think once I'm done with this big old diatribe, we're going to take a real quick break, and I will play some other music in the meantime. How's that sound? I think I'll submit that you should think about threatening as a keyword in this discussion. Something can be horrific in many ways, but if it doesn't threaten you on an emotional level, you won't feel that it's horror. I don't necessarily agree with that, because I don't think that I found Soma to be particularly threatening. I don't think the world of Soma is particularly threatening. However, I do think that the world of Soma is horrific. I don't think danger necessarily needs to be posed in a direct manner for it to be considered horror. This is something that I ran into a lot with, Silent Hill F was really the tipping point for me, because I don't think Silent Hill F is scary, like, at all. I don't know that there was any part of Silent Hill F where I was particularly scared. However, the storytelling of Silent Hill and the aesthetics of Silent Hill are very squarely rooted in horror. The story being told in Silent Hill F is a horrific story. Is it scary? Not necessarily. But, yeah, it would be horrible to be Hinako. If you are in the shoes of your protagonist in that moment, whether we're talking about the true events of what happened or as they are viewed from a gameplay standpoint, there is horror being inflicted. Is it scary? No, but it's undeniably horror to me. But that's an entire different conversation. All right, we're gonna see if I can get the fuck out of here by picking up these logs. Huh. I thought that I had more room. Okay, that's not great. We're gonna switch to Asuka, then. Please don't break, please don't break, please don't break. Don't walk over it, don't walk over it so many times. Item. Move, took the wood. That's bad. That's bad. Alright, random encounter time, let's get to it. Worms? Okay, we should be able to run. Nice. Good, good, good. Let us team back up so that I can get the candle again. Let's switch to... Oh, shit. Alright, candle ran out. Let's use the wax again. Alright, perfect. And then she's freed up to... Oh, no, it stays in the inventory. Okay, so the candle doesn't go away. That's good to know. We're going to come on over here. We will lay down the bridge. And then what I would like to know is, does wood have an internal health system that it keeps track of? Oh, fuck, Skull. We gotta get the hell out of here. Does wood have, like, an internal HP that it keeps track of between placements? Or, when I pick it back up, is it essentially fully healed again? I doubt it has the internal storage capacity to... Yeah, the limitations of the hardware might mean that when I pick up the piece of wood, it's probably back to full durability, which means that I should just be juggling wood instead of using it until it breaks. Feel free to take that sentence completely out of context. I'm sure it would be very fun to do so. How are you gonna fail to run away from worms, Akiko? Come on. Okay, well... I have a feeling that we have just proven that it does have some internal health. That's rough. I don't know what we're going to do next, but we got the gang all back together. Let's do a quick save, even though it'll probably fuck us over. And then we will pause and we'll find some music to play during break. How's that sound? What can I play? Let's go. This should be good. There's an excellent essay on creating horror in media called The Trajectory of Fear. The author breaks fear into 4 forms based on the certainty of danger and how immediately present it is. It's a really good read, especially for running horror tabletop games. Ooh, very nice recommendation. Thank you very post that in my Discord so I don't forget it. Thank you very much. I've been zoned out for the past hour or so. Basically, what you mean is that the real monster is man. Yeah, that's it exactly. Thank you. Glad someone was paying attention. Damn. Anyway, we're gonna have the trial opening music from the Great Ace Attorney as some background music. How's that sound? Actually, wait a minute. I got the perfect break music. Perfect. Perfect. All right, if there is a mod in chat, please get that Scran bet rolling. We're going to take a quick 5-minute break. Back in a few. See you then. Get some water, stretch, all that jazz. I'm back. Hello. Ain't no... Walrus. Buddy, thank you for the raid. How do you keep doing it? We took a break late today. How, like, do you have like some sort of cosmic fucking hourglass that you set down, and when the sands tick down, it's like, oh, time to raid Jelly? How is it always during my break, man? Happy to have you. Hope Resident Evil 9's going good. It's just, I wouldn't be so surprised. It's just that it's so consistent. If I take a break early, you raid early. If I take a break late, you raid late. It just doesn't make any sense. I don't know if you've ever raided me when I'm not either on break or just about to go on break. I think it's you, Jelly. You seem to attract raid breaks. I only took today's break late because Joe raided me just before I was about to take one. And I didn't want like 1,200 people to come on in. It's like, whoa, let's go see Jelly. And then I'm not there. So instead I had to ramble about survival horror and genre descriptivism. Oh, horror isn't just being scared for 20 minutes. Okay. Time for Scrandle. Let me pull that shit up. We gotta do Channel, and we gotta do Scrandle. Nice model. Thank you. It was designed by the one and only Madison Bake. Jelly, inside baseball question. For all these awesome gift tour models you make and use, do you use VAutoTube? I do, in fact, use VAutoTube, yes. Would you rate the horror level of Walrus raids versus Scrandle? I think that the inconsistency and the unknown value of Scrandle makes it a more an experience more closely aligned to horror than a Walrus raid, which does seem to be consistent, if not mortifying. Are you aware that your beloved HexGen caused like 5 crashes today during Walrus' stream? Well, yeah. Why do you think I broke them all out of prison? Their power had to be contained. I just thought that was a dumb idea, so I said no thank you. They were in there for a reason. I just didn't like that reason. Let the breaker be free, I say. I chose Rapture. Anyway, of course we're going to start with a Chandel. Gotta go with the Saito Gambit. It's a classic for a reason. It is Merrick. It's early. Okay, it is Merrick. All right, this narrows our choices down very effectively. Less than 9, it is Merrick. Okay. Will today be the day that it's Loot-chan? No. More than 1 earlier than 2020. What? Yeah, it would have to... Well... Does Undo have more than 1 in Jan art? Is the question. Because I know that she's in the database because I drew her and Edge-chan, but I don't think anyone else drew them. It could be Bandage. I think it is... Hold on. I think it is Bandage. Hold on. I think it's Bandage. Quantum Moon was after Mortal Shell. I know because I joined the community during Mortal Shell, and Outer Wilds was following that. So if it's before Mortal Shell, it's before Outer Wilds, which means it's before Quantum Moon. I think it's going to be Bandage-chan, because Zerstorin drew a fan art that had Bandage-chan in it, I believe. And then Flora drew her for the Gorgeous View collab. I think. No. It is 2019. It's not Slay the Spire, so it's not going to be Bomb-chan either. Okay. More than 1, it is 2019. Okay, then it probably is going to be Edge or Undo, right? So the question is, which one? And I feel like Undo is probably more likely to be drawn than Edge. It's neither. Oh, no. 2019 between 5 and 9? Holy shit. I thought we would have had this on lock. What? Is it Bike Chan? It might be Bike Chan. It's Bike Chan. All right. Can't believe she only has 6. That's astonishing. I mean, she's gonna have a lot more now since this was based on some old, an old database. This was before the April Fool's one. I fucking hate you, and I hope you die, Pekka. We had a lot of very, very good Bike Chan art during Death Stranding 2. This is such a cute one. Monobike. I forgot about Monobike Chan and Bike Tan, because she's tan. Get it? I drew my heart out. Well done. All right. So today's Chandle, Bike Chan. And as for today's Scrandle, can we choose it? Yes, we scran! Let's get to it. I'm afraid we can. No reason to be afraid. I'm armed. Alright. For those who scran after, good-looking cheeseburger, insulted... That's Jesus Christ. Okay. Alright. Please, please, please do not let it be the sawdust pie. Thank God. Oh, Christ. Is it Friday? What's going on? Is Monday just also fucked for some reason? I feel like Monday is consistently like this. The cheese dog is at least not upsetting. I don't... Right. How? How is it... Okay. I feel like the bratwurst and beer is gonna win, if only because this looks like dog food that has been thrown up. You're kidding me! You're kidding me! Oh no. Oh, we definitely scrant today. We definitely scrant today. That's crazy. Pulled pork sandwich with spicy sauce, potato salad, and soda for $9.50. Or Bombay sandwich, Balti pie, and samosa with mint and chili sauce. I hate the idea of putting a pie on a sandwich. Putting two... Left. I'm insulted by this, as delicious as it looks. I'm insulted by it. Ham and cheese panini with 2 beers, $13.10, or a decent looking pizza for $6.50. I'm gonna go left because the pint buff isn't real. It's gonna be left because this one looks like if I eat it I might get sick, and this one just looks like it sucks. Yeah. Okay. It's the Jockey Whopper. That's crazy. That's just an unconscionable amount of food on one sandwich. Chicken curry and chips, or a brisket sandwich. Chips are going to take the day, plus I don't like this singular ring of onion and the driest pickle I've ever seen in my entire life. 73 for that! Sunday roast is looking pretty good. That's also a really nice looking bao bun as well, though. I think the Sunday roast... I think the Sunday roast might take it, if only because a Scranatier might be afraid of all the peppers that are on here, even though some of those peppers are actually green onion, right? Sunday roast. Wow! That was a shutout! I was completely wrong. Pulled pork nachos. Those look awesome. Damn. 7 out of 10 Scran? Ugh, I don't feel good about that one. I do not feel... Let's get the post-game report on this one. This one was a complete toss-up. This is just... This is just looks gross. This looks okay. This is gross. I don't know why that's higher. Prediction result is 7. Damn. Nobody thought... No one voted 7 out of 10? What do you mean no one voted 7 out of 10? That's crazy. I don't know how this is a good-looking sausage. It comes with... well, the pine puff isn't real. Is it just because it's expensive? The bread doesn't look great. This looks like dog vomit. I don't mean that insultingly. I mean that literally. My dog has a sensitive stomach, and sometimes she throws up. This is what it looks like. This looks like dog vomit. That is the exact color, texture, and consistency of dog vomit. Are the trash corn gone? Yeah, I think the trash corn just goes into the ether because no one won. I do mean that insultingly. I mean everything you said insultingly. Dog puke. I see. And then this one I was just completely wrong. Not gonna lie, that brought beer actually looked good to me. I'd be happy to pay for that. Like, that's a good looking brat right there. I don't know if I'm not a huge mustard guy, but like, it's a good looking sausage. I think it's just the Scraniteers of the world just really don't like the sausage with a piece of bread, is all. Hot dog, there is an anti-hot dog bias in Scrandle. Perhaps to fill the vacuum provided by the burger bias. Maybe the Scraniteers have dogs with stronger stomachs. It's possible. It's very possible. That's today's Scran. Could have been worse, but it could have also been a lot better. Back to Sweet Home. And that's enough Resident Evil Remake save room music. We're probably going to go for, I would say, another hour, just about, which does seem to be fitting with the general time that I do stream, because I don't think this game is not really... I'm not going to be playing it to completion. So I feel like we're coming close to plumbing the depths. I was mostly playing Sweet Home just to get an idea of where the genre started, right? And if that's the idea, I could probably stop now, because I feel like I've seen a lot of what I came here to see. You know, I came to the amusement park, I rode the rides that I wanted to ride, I had a good time, I went to the fucking gift shop and got some way too expensive fudge to take home and eat like one bite of on the car ride home and then leave in the fridge for 2 weeks because I forgot about it, right? But you know, we got one more hour stream, let's do it. See what kind of progress we can make. And then maybe we kill someone off on purpose, because apparently the death scenes are very graphic, and I'm interested to see what the hell that means. I would never forget about the fudge. Me, personally, I don't think I would either. F-light? But nothing happened. What do we use the flashlight on, then? Oh! Wait a minute! I know what we use the flashlight on, so use it on the shadows. Oh, Christ. No, get me out of here. Get me out of here. Okay, so the flashlight is a massive progression item. Holy shit. Okay. That's huge. And I think the generator should be up here? Oh, Christ. Okay. Right. Okay, it seems like you dive right when something's falling on you. Okay, zombies are a problem. That's bad. Why does it keep saying the prediction result is 7? We know it's 7. I really need to get that generator up and running. Hello there. Tread not on the patterned floor. Okay, well, I can't do it in the first place, so I suppose that's sound advice if ever there was some. I think pray is an option in those sort of quick time event type deals, because prayer is like mana. And I think you can just sort of use it as a resource, maybe. Just, like, take the resource drain to not have to guess. Because otherwise it's randomly taking... Do we have tonic? We need some tonic. Nobody is there. Not save. No. Luke! You just had to do scram when I was busy? Oh! You will all die. Hee hee. Okay. Pretty fucking rude. Okay, we need to get back to the rest of the group and use tonic. Please don't be a zombie. That's somehow worse, I think. Run! Run away! Okay. Who has the tonic? Item... There's the tonic. Alright, who needs healing of our party? Kazuo's good. Asuka's good. I think... Taro, Akiko... Kazuo's almost taking 100 damage, actually. Actually, no. Akiko, Taro, and Asuka, then. So, switch to the other group. And grab Taro real quick. Reach him up. Go our own ways. Oh, okay. Never mind. We'll switch to Taro and have him break from the team. And then have him team up with them. And then he doesn't have the fucking tonic. Kazuo has the tonic. I'm gonna move that. You take the wax. And then we'll come over here and use the tonic so that it heals the people we want it to heal. Life restored. Pray up. Back to full. Alright. Now he's in the dark, and he can use the wax. Nice. Okay. Where to now? Well, obviously we have to go up here. Please stop giving me skulls, man. Get the fuck out of here. Ran. Nice. We put the gun away. We're not in combat right now. Explorer on the sides, perhaps? Oh, we can sweep with this glass. Vacuum cleaner, by the way, best item in the whole game. I have to wonder if the reason that Luigi uses one in, what is it? The reason Luigi uses one in Luigi's Mansion, I feel like it must be inspired by this in some way. Well, no, hold on, because that's probably inspired by Ghostbusters. Which came first, Sweet Home or Ghostbusters? How far back does this go? Because the more obvious inspiration is clearly Ghostbusters. I don't know how I didn't think of that first. Please, Akiko, get... It's a fucking snake in a skull! Get away from it! Ghostbusters is 500 years old. Tonic? We will take that gladly. Gimme. Vacuum that up real quick. Ghostbusters was 5 years earlier. Damn. Okay. Well, can't claim that this came first defense anymore. Culture is dead. Ghostbusters is literally 1984. Asuka, get the fuck out of there. Okay, we're fine. Look out, right? Nah, it hit us. Damn. You to 5 damage. Okay, so this just brought us back up here. I think we want to go to Emmy so that we can bring the key up here and unlock that door. One of the things that I'm really interested in seeing is each character starts in this game with a unique item. And I assume if that character dies, their inventory is lost along with their essential item that they bring with them. Some items are less essential than others, such as it seems like the first aid kit isn't really essential. It's used for when someone gets poisoned or is inflicted with a status effect that lingers after combat. Or the vacuum, which largely seems to just remove glass shards. I don't know if you need the vacuum to remove the glass, or if walking over the glass does damage, or what, because I've always had the vacuum and I've just swept things up. But I'm interested to know if a party member dies, if, like, you're just kind of fucked in some ways. Used key. There we go. And we're in. And then let's bring the other party over since they're nice and healed up. Off we go, team. Oh, thank God. Look, a garden! And a fire extinguisher. Luke? Lock? Oh, are these... Was that other place a nice, like a big hallway door? How's it going there? Hello. Luke. A knight. Item? Pray. Level low. So I can pray there, I just need to be stronger. Level 5. No, I want to look at the party. There we go. Well, games had no chill when it came to soft locks, would not surprise me if you're just boned. Yeah, and I think that's, like, kind of part of the intended experience. We were talking about that earlier whenever Joe raided us. What the? Well. Yeah, I should have seen that coming in retrospect. Can I use the fire extinguisher in that room? How much damage did we just take from that? Not a lot, okay. Simple as. And there's another picture we can look at, another fresco. Luke! Fresco, but how to preserve it. It's covered in dust. Item. Vacuum. And then the camera. Letters appear. How old is this game? This game is from 1989, I believe. So, coming up on a little shy of 30 years old. No, wait, older. Right? No, just on 40 years old. Yeah. Where there is lightning. Okay. I don't need a random encounter right now. Please go away, skull. We're just gonna pray the skull away. Luke! A skeleton! Written blood, so bloody letters. Can't enter without prayer. Huh? Prayer? Luke! A knight? Okay, so when you find knights, you pray. I could go use 10 pray points. I could go drew the spear. Oh! No, not you. Can't exchange. Oh, is this like... Took armor. Armor? Huh. Can I give this to the other knight? Because I don't think the other knight had a weapon. Item. Armor. Used armor. You gave the spear. see. That's probably... I probably need to give the spear to him, then. Alright. That looks like a trap. Item... It's a one... Yeah, well... Yeah, no, fire extinguishers do tend to be like that, huh? And a random... Not now, man! Not now! That's a new one! Grave! Okay, we're gonna pray you to death. How's that sound? I don't like the cut of your jib, so die. One, damn it, that's not good. Oscar poisoned. Alright, let's pray again, because that seemed to be the only thing that did actual damage. It's still alive. That's quite bad. I don't know why I'm attacking, even though I know it's not going to do damage. Wow, they have a lot of fucking health. Hi, Jelly, how's the game? It's pretty cool. Alright, Oscar poisoned. Item... kit. Cured, there we go. Take this... I like the art, thank you. Or, not thank you. I don't know why I said thank you. Yeah, man, I did... You know, it was a lot of, you know, hard hours spent at the office, putting Sweet Home together, but, you know, me and my team, we got it done. Did a great job. Flashlights used on shadows. Luke! Letters appear. A knight needs a spear. Where there's lightning, a knight needs a spear. Okay. Ooh, tonic. I'll take that shit. Thank you very much. And then... silver. Ooh, I think silver is probably better, because that'll be good against ghosts and goblins and ghouls and the like. And the game froze on me. One moment, please. Let it calibrate. Hold on. There we go. We're back to normal. Alright. No matter what we do, we need Kazuo in here now. So, Kazuo, come on. Can you disable ray tracing? I don't think we did any tracing whenever we made this game, and I don't appreciate you accusing me of such things. So fucking stupid. Okay, first, let's use the key to unlock this. Emmy, the master of unlocking, who can't unlock fucking anything, apparently. Let's put Kazuo in the lead, because he's the highest level. Maybe he will be able to pray the night away. Kazuo used 22 pray points. Oh? The wall fell. We're making good progress. Very cool. Anyway, let's use the lighter to burn this rope. And the key to unlock this door. Maybe is the reason that sometimes the key doesn't work on doors because it's locked from the inside? Is this going to lead back to earlier? Yep. Cool. Okay. Nice. It's just like Dark Souls. It's just like Dark Souls. Okay, I really think we can probably run away from this thing because I don't feel like fighting it. Emmy, come on, lock in. Thank you. All right, let's get the other group on out there because it looks like there's some stuff to sweep up. So Girly Squad plus Taro. Head on outside. Music changed. That's how you know we're making progress. This looks different. Is that just something in the tile set? Luke? Nothing? Okay. I figured there would be random encounters outside. Yeah. Oh! Okay, Hound! Can we take this thing? 1 damage, 1 damage, 1 damage? Okay, I have a feeling we probably can't run away from this thing. Never mind. Taro poisoned. That's bad. Get the fuck out of there. Taro poisoned. Item. Kit. Used kit. Taro cured. Oh, you okay, Taro? Why did you leave the party? Okay, item. Vacuum that up. We're making progress. Who has the mallet? We have the mallet. I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little shocked at how intuitive and playable a lot of this is. I feel like with a lot of games, a lot of old RPGs especially, they just sort of set you loose and don't really give you a lot of explanation for a lot of things. And that's kind of what they've done here, but the mechanics are simple enough that it just kind of intuitively made sense what to do and how to use a lot of it. What's the benefit to not having a party of 4? The max party you can have is 3. You can't go higher than 3, so you need to do 1 group of 3 or 1 group of 2 at maximum. Alright, let's bring these guys outside because they got the lighter and the key. Okay, surely we can run away from this thing. Nicely done. Love that she, like, waggles the key a little. Very fun. Anyway, this required a lot of specific resources to get into it, so I assume it will be worth getting into. Oh, fuck. Hound. That's bad. Ran. Kazuo failed? Okay, Kazuo can take some damage. He's fine. Obviously means there's a secret sixth character. I mean, it's not outside of the realm of possibility. I've already been quite surprised at what this game is capable of. Used key, the master of unlocking. I'm gonna be playing that game eventually. I figure I'll finally get to hear that quote in context. Oh, there's a generator. Good stuff. As expected. Does not seem worth it to fight these guys a lot of the time. The generator. Luke! Switch on the generator? Yes. But nothing happened. Oh shit, do we need the wire from earlier? Luke? A skeleton? Luke? In blood? Gas. Okay. Alright, Germa. We'll find some gas. These things are fucking scary. I don't remember if we talked about this before or after the raid, but random encounters as a means of inflicting fear is a really interesting thing to think about as well. I'm surprised that more games in the horror genre don't lean... I didn't mean to attack. Don't lean into random encounters as a method of inflicting fear. We will swap the rope. Is that a mallet? I assume that's a mallet. Because I never actually saw what the mallet looked like before. It was underneath a table. Under the table. Walk in. Have a fight. Even though we're going to be running away from the shit immediately. I didn't mean to attack. I wonder if one person running and the other attacking gives the person who's running higher odds of getting away. It'd be interesting if so. Used gas. Gas poured. Luke? The problem most horror games face is that the same mechanics that induce fear become tedious with too much exposure. Yeah, that's a pretty fair criticism to make, I would say. Random encounters are great. Yeah, makes sense. Makes perfect sense. That's probably why Fear and Hunger, while it does have encounters similar to this one largely strays away from them being random. Duck! That's an arrow coming at me, right? Jesus. Alright. Fear and hunger lets enemies stay dead when you kill... That, yeah, that too. That too. I was more so thinking about the fact that you can avoid encounters entirely. Just because of how combat works in that game. And in most cases, you want to avoid combat encounters entirely whenever possible. Alright, well I turned on the generator, but after that I'm not really sure what we're doing here. I don't know what's next. First game really only has some mild RNG for some floors and enemy layouts. I see. Fear and Hunger is one of those games that I you know, like Fear and Hunger's greatest fan, excited to one day play it. I figured out that it existed, or found out that it existed, and then read the entire fucking wiki front to back, read like 17 different, or watched 17 different video essays about the lore, and then I was like, wow, that's cool. Maybe one day I'll play it. I could have gone around. I went the long way for no reason, both times around. Random encounters wouldn't be so terrible if you could see them coming, but they are literally just a random chance every time you step on a tile. Yeah. I think it's pretty effective in this game so far. There's a slight level of tedium, but mostly because avoiding a random encounter once I'm in it seems to be rather consistent with being able to just run the fuck away. Although with some stuff like having to have a high enough level to be able to pray for the explosion, or pray for the knight there, I do wonder if what is it? I do wonder if like an actual playthrough of this game would require some level of grinding, even to get your level high enough for certain parts of the game. Huh. That's weird to think about. Probably like it. It's basically an RPG himself. Yeah, I know that I would like it if I played it personally. I'm very, very firm on that belief that I would like it if I played it. No, not quit. Not okay. Well, now I have to hit restart and then say no. I think now we want to set up a bridge to get a. How do we get across there? I don't think we can. Let's look around. Let's look around. And then I think once we explore a little bit more, I'm going to like purposefully see if I can get a character killed just so that we can see what that looks like and how the game reacts. Yep. Yep, zombie. Oh no, scary, kawaii. Run away. See, it's already reaching a level of tedium for me, because right now I'm just trying to look around and explore. I don't want to deal with combat. And it's sort of just getting in the way of the experience that I would like to have. Although it is bringing to mind another element that is really important to what is it? Another element that's really important to the flow of a survival horror game, namely puzzle solving. I think that having puzzles or having these different modes of play between combat and puzzles, where things slow down and the tension is lowered as you do something more cerebral, to use a $10 word for a dollar value, a fucking dollar menu concept. I think like the interplay between those more tense combat sections and a section like this where you're exploring and just trying to solve a puzzle are also important. Right now, it feels like the combat section is getting in the way of the puzzle-solving section to me. How about having a progress bar towards the next random encounter? Literally have a number on screen, 12% chance to hit a random encounter, increasing steadily with every step. Will that add to it or make it more annoying when it does happen? I think if you came up with some mechanics that would allow you to manually lower your encounter chance, like if, I don't know, certain gameplay habits could raise or lower it, or just that if you had some level of control and it wasn't just every step does this and there's nothing you can do about it, that would probably make for a pretty engaging mechanic to some degree, yeah. Maybe having specified areas where random encounters can happen would help, so it ends up with some puzzle areas and some combat area. Yeah, kind of like, you know how in Pokemon only random encounters only happen in the tall grass, unless you're in a cave or something like that, right? This game had it to some degree as well, where I think in the entrance area, once you cross the bridge, that's when random encounters can't happen until you cross the bridge. Oh no, zombie. Kazuo fit. Kazuo, my guy. You're supposed to be good at this. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to check in this room again and see if maybe there is something I was missing in here. Ooh. Cool. All right. Let's bring the girlies and Taro back over. Is there something we got to take a picture of? Oh no, comment. So okay, you know what? Fuck it. We'll kill this guy. Done and dusted. Easy money. Oh, wrong one. Whoopsie. So you need to get the lights on so that you can see this one. That's the progression that we're working with right now. Luke. Item camera. Letters appear. 2-3. Our 10th anniversary and our first child is born. Interesting. It's bats! Me when I'm the Joker and my arch nemesis appears. It's bats! Huh. I don't remember being in this side of the room. Was this side open before? What? Huh. Worms! We're gonna get out of here. Okay. Everyone, they're worms! How are you gonna fail to run away from worms? How are you gonna fail to run away from worms twice? Yeah, this is where I almost got stuck. Okay. Well, I'm not really sure where to go next. I feel like I've lost some of the meta progression puzzle. I think Kazuo has a log that I might be able to lay somewhere. Possibly. Nothing happened. Okay. Me when I'm asked what baseball players use to hit the ball, it's bats. Sure is, buddy. Can I kill these things outright? And we took 1 damage. Okay. I'm not really sure where to go next. Nor do I plan on streaming this game again. And we're running up on about where I would like to end stream. Even though it's going to be a relatively short one. So I think we're going to choose one unlucky soul to die. It can't be Taro because he's the cameraman, and the cameraman never dies. I say Kazuo. He's the leader, and in a horror situation, if the leader dies first, that's how you know all hope is lost. Because it's a found footage game. Emmy seems most likely to die. No. Emmy is clearly final girl. All right, just looking at like the group dynamic that we have, the most likely to survive are Taro and Emmy, right? If Taro doesn't survive, he dies first. Okay? If Taro doesn't survive, he dies first. No. I think Kazuo would have to die first. No? I'm trying to think. How's... Kind of dislike the run button, but I don't know what to do about it. Yeah, it feels like I don't have much reason to engage with combat. We need someone to die to establish the stakes, right? And it can't be Kazuo, because they need to be competent for a little bit to feel like there's any amount of hope. It can't just be instant hopelessness. It needs to be fear, but there's some hope because someone has their bearings. And Kazuo is the leader, so they can rally behind him for a little bit. I think he dies third. So the last two people are left, and they seem the least likely to make it. And if I'm looking at these people and I'm asking myself who are the least likely to make it, it's probably Emmy and the girl with the vacuum whose name I can't remember. Akiko? Asuka. They seem like the... well... Does Asuka die first? I'm trying to think what would make for the most like engaging sort of death order here if we're trying to make a horror movie, right? For a cast where no one dies first, so no one dies at all. I mean, kinda, yeah. I feel like it's got to be one of the girls, because I think with a horror movie, you usually open with a girl dies. Because that's scary. And you have sympathy for them. So maybe it goes... No, here's the thing. Emmy is Kazuo's daughter. So she definitely lives. She's the youngest girl in the group. She's 100% final girl material. She survives and is traumatized by the events, but she's young, so she lives on, right? Someone definitely sacrifices themselves so that she can live. And I think... Who's the funny one? Taro is the camera guy, and he's a guy, and it's anime, and he's not the main character, so it's probably Taro is the funny one, so he probably dies first. I'm thinking Taro... Taro, Asuka, Kazuo, and then Akiko, and then Emmy is left alive. Anyway, I guess that means we've decided that Taro dies first, even though he's the cameraman. So, off you go, Taro, to your death. He's gonna go off on his own. And then they will find the footage later. The real party will find the footage later. Alright, what's his health looking like? I think if I just attack, I'll probably... We're just gonna keep getting into fights until we die. Doesn't look like zombies really doing all that much damage to us, which is a little annoying considering I'm... Oh, he's stunned. Taro is okay. Well... Alright, fucking... Stop being frozen so you can die. Taro got mad at the party and went on his own? Exactly. Unfreeze me. Alright. I just need you to die is all. Maybe I just keep praying bad? Maybe if I keep praying poorly, I'll be smote. I'll be smitten. 3 pray points? Can you stop getting stunned, man? It's kind of interesting that being stunned immediately brings you out of combat. I'd feel like if you're alone and you get stunned, that seems like it would be a bad thing. But as long as you still have like Akiko, you just free him up and then he's good to go. Akiko, I'm not trying to kill you. What does call do? Call, I think, is you call someone for help, right? Oh, interesting. Huh. What if I take a picture of it? Uh-oh. Assuming I attack? Oh, I see. Alright, Akiko, run. And then Taro, you just keep at it. Stop! Taro, can you stop getting stunned, man? Please? I ask one thing of you. I ask one thing of you, and that thing is for you to die. And you can't even get that right. The cameraman really never does die, huh? Alright. Surely outside we will get, like, poisoned or something and then die, right? Surely. Surely. Hound! Perfect! No effect. 21. Alright, now we're taking some serious damage. I can work with this. He's definitely going to die. Yep. Probably 2 more than he's done for. Taro poisoned. Alright, dead as hell. Dead as hell for sure. Dead as hell for sure. No effect. What do you mean, no effect? Taro died. Taro died! I'm sorry. Fucking cleft in twain by a hound. That's crazy. Taro, no! Do we team up? Sounds good to me. Alright, now it's time to go see if we can get Taro's stuff. Man, I remember reading something and it was like, I was amazed at, like, you know, like, that the NES could have graphics like this the first time I saw a death scene. I thought, like, I don't know, maybe it would be like a kind of gruesome cutscene, but I mean, no. He just sort of has a scared sprite and they break into 2 pieces. Taro, no. Luke, nothing! Nothing? No! They don't give a shit! They don't fucking care! I don't... So you can get the items from their bodies? Oh, that's brutal, man. Nothing? Nothing. Why does he look like he has his cheeks out? Well, they're currently flashing a little bit due to some graphical limitations, I assume. No, he does, damn. Oh my god, nothing is crazy. He just died, have some respect. Man, poor guy. Alright, well, I'm gonna call it there. That was a really interesting time. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I wasn't sure what to expect going into it, but this seems like kind of the perfect primer for the rest of the marathon. I'm really glad I decided to play this first. What's the cutscene for dying on wood? Is there one? Huh. That's a good question, actually. Let's go check that out. Surely it's not cut in 2. Surely not. No, they wouldn't have someone cleft in twain twice for wounds that didn't make sense. Surely they have like a one that's like, oh no, I fell, scary, right? I don't know how they would determine like the time limit to do so though. Is there a time limit? I don't know, the dogs could come inside. Did I say some inside? My words are all mixed right now. Who has wood? Okay. Asuka has wood. Alright. We're gonna switch to the party comp because I don't want Emmy falling. I want Kazuo to fall. Alright. Item. Wood. Okay, well, I don't want a random encounter. Alright, you deserve this. Wojak looking fucking wisp. What? Huh? What? What? But... But that's supposed to break. Does it just have a random chance to break? And I kept getting really unlucky? Why isn't that breaking? The wood is also and so I'm just getting really lucky a bunch of times in a row? That's annoying. Especially when I want it to happen now. Maybe we got really unlucky. It's certainly possible. Huh. Why isn't it breaking? Hold on. Is it not breaking because it's the last piece of wood we have access to? Is there like soft lock protection? Because I'm pretty sure this is the last piece of wood we have. So maybe the last piece of wood you have can't break. For whatever reason. Interesting. Could try it in a different pit that doesn't lead to a dead end. Yeah, let's see. Let's go back to the main room, maybe. Oh, no. I know. Let's just go to a place where we know it can break. As it has before. Oh, there's bats in here, though. Bats. Me when I'm one of the Joker's goons and I'm on night watch and suddenly some of my cohorts begin disappearing. There we go. Alright, goodbye, Kazuo. Okay, so... That's bad. It's bats. 15 damage. 17 damage. 20 damage. Alright, nicely done. So what? Is he just... Run away! Run away! So what? How does he die, then? Is he taking damage? He is taking damage! Oh, I see. Okay. So I guess we'll find out very shortly. Worms! Have you seen the Resident Evil movies, Jelly? No, I have not. They might be fun to watch after we play. So just no matter how you die, you just fucking explode into two. Now it looks like he's butt-ass naked. Alright, definitely worth looking. I didn't know the graphics on the NES could be this good. It's crazy. Awesome. Alright. I'm gonna call it there then. We've seen all we came here to see. Alright. So tomorrow, afternoon time slot around 4 p.m. EST, if you're in the Discord, you'll be able to see the schedule. We will be playing our second game for the Death March for this month, Clock Tower, which is another game that is largely considered, or not large, I don't know largely, but is generally considered to be part of the survival horror genre that came out before the term survival horror was codified. So tomorrow, 4 p.m., we'll be playing that, and then Thursday at 4 p.m., we'll be playing really the front runner of the series, of the genre, and of this model even, Resident Evil, which I have never played before. The only Resident Evil game I've played is Resident Evil 6, somewhat, a little bit. And I have a feeling that probably doesn't give me a very rounded idea of what the series is all about. So, you know. We'll see. But yeah, I believe Allison is live. So we will raid Allison. Dara. Alright. That is going to be all from me today. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. For those of you who want to stick around for the Death March going forward, I suppose I'll see you all tomorrow with some Clock Tower. Till then, have a good one, folks. See ya!